Part 295. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2953. Jia Yan looked at the helpless senior domain master and felt his head hurt again. Sir, if it's only half a month, I can afford to wait, but you have to guarantee that if something happens to this department again, if something happens again, I can't guarantee whether I will regard the contract we signed as a contract. Scraps of paper, you know what I mean. Jia Yan was frightened by the continuous extraneous incidents. Is it easy for me to swallow a dolphin? So he would rather wait a little longer and calm down his anxiety. He still understands the saying that he can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. But since Your Excellency Jia Yan is willing to wait, we can rest assured. The three strong men over there looked reassured, but when they followed Jia Yan's gaze, they all looked strange. It turned out that the center point of Jia Yan's compound eyes was no longer on them, but on the dark curtain of the auction house in the distance. There's the head of a white dolphin there. Wu Zun's expression suddenly became very ugly, but after weighing it for a moment, he said bluntly without waiting for Jia Yan to ask again, Master Jia Yan, you can pay 5-star cores for that head. This way I can at least explain it to my subordinates. Martial Lord also needs reputation. If Jia Yan single-handedly kills him in the center of the Jianghu Star territory, and then surrenders what he finally obtained in despair, his prestige will also be lost to Lao Lao's family. Ken. Jia Yan also thought of this, nodded slowly, and said, but my hands are tight recently, and these 5-star cores will need to be owed for a while. Don't worry, my Orion arm will increase the transaction volume with Jianghu Star territory in the future. If you really can't afford it, you can use the goods from the Orion arm to pay it back slowly. That's okay. Wu Zun knew instantly that Jia Yan probably didn't have money, but wanted to take advantage of it. Even if he can finally pay it off, the longer it drags on, the more he will have to pay in the Jianghu Star territory. For example, when Jia Yan talks about a transaction and the other party owes him money, is it really the Orion arm that is more passive in the transaction? Wrong, it is the boss who owes the money, not to mention that there is still such a powerful person backing him, so the Orion arm will get more benefits from the transaction. But if you don't give him this kind of benefit, you won't be able to get the arrears from StarCore. If you can't get the arrears, your subordinates will be disappointed with you, your prestige will decline, and the cohesion of Jianghu Star territory will also decline, resulting in the overall strength decline. Thank you. I'll take the white dolphin head. Jia Yan has a fiery temperament, and if he doesn't take advantage of it at this time, it will cause extra problems. Puff. In the darkness, the head of the white dolphin, which was originally stored in the container, started to make waves without any wind. Several defensive methods had no effect, and it was directly lifted into the air. Fly to the stars. The three senior domain masters watched Jia Yan's domineering behavior, and their faces were not so pretty. They have not yet admitted their defeat at the hands of Jia Yan. But now that the matter has come to this, all I can do is break my teeth and swallow blood, pinch my nose and admit it. Jia Yan finally took the head of the white dolphin into his hands, and felt that his hard work for so long had finally paid off. He looked back at the three strong men, his expression softened, and the reflection in the giant mosquito's compound eyes. What comes out is joyful information. Then you three, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you in half a month. Don't worry, the price is also 5-star cores, so you don't have to worry about me defaulting on the payment. Jia Yan said, breaking through the subspace and flying majestically toward the huge palace deep inside the subspace. This person is a bit overbearing. Among the three, the mentally gifted one said with a cold expression. The other two looked at him. Wu Zun just shook his head and sighed, I'm sorry, I dragged you into this matter. After that, I will agree with you on the details of the trade you discussed with me last time. Oh. The eyes of the two people changed, and they turned from anger to joy. Last time, these two people came to Jianghu Star territory to discuss certain transaction contents. Although it seemed to be good for all three parties, Jianghu Star territory would suffer a small loss if Jianghu Star territory agreed, so Wu Zun did not agree. Unexpectedly, Wu Zun agreed to the discussion because of this matter. In this way, even if the white dolphin failed to obtain the physical body, it can be regarded as a gain. They also quickly said goodbye and left. The starry sky was empty, leaving Wu Zun alone, looking up at the top of his head, not knowing what to feel for. After a while, he turned his attention to another black screen. A giant arm waved, and a star-level strongman flew out from it. "Just go with me." He scanned the auction house lightly, followed the cracks in the cave, and stared at a powerful man of the venerable level outside. This venerable level powerhouse had a calm gaze. Even when he looked at a dignified and senior domain lord level being, he never showed any trace of fear. On the contrary, Wu Zun nodded with this person while leaving. This is Jia Yan's alien clone. And the star he caught from another shady scene was the son of the white dolphin. He was probably worried that if he left, the son of the white dolphin who stayed here might be killed by Jia Yan. Although the contact time was not long, he already knew this giant mosquito warrior very well. He was a person who would choose to end his life once and for all even if he lost some face. The alien shape of Jia Yan's clone doesn't matter. He promised by dolphin that he would not pursue the white dolphin family. This child did not really threaten him. Since Wu Zun stood up for him, it was okay for him to let him go. Hey, why should I talk about his child? Jia Yan woke up. I am only over 100 years old, but I somehow think of myself as a contemporary of the white dolphin. His son is already at the star level. I am afraid that when he reaches 200 years old, he will actually regard a strong man twice his age as a junior. Oh, it's still my fault that I'm too young. Maybe many powerful people are elders to me. Unfortunately, their strength is not as good as mine. There will probably be more and more similar situations in the future. The clone flew out of the crack in the black curtain and went directly into the subspace. Inside the auction house, several territory lords who wanted to approach the alien clone cautiously and chat with him couldn't help but sigh in despair. But that's fine, if we didn't chat, at least Wu Zun wouldn't find out about it and hold him accountable. Naturally, Jia Yan would not just leave a clone in the outside world. He was clearly waiting for radicals to come and cause trouble. Rather than letting this well-known clone act, it would be better to send other clones to take action. Besides, there is no need to send Jia Yan anymore, as the other clones are still active. At this moment, "Brother Assassin, what's wrong with you?" An extremely handsome and powerful person at the venerable level expressed concern with quite polite words. The monkey-like Jia Yan clone came to his senses slightly, shook his head jokingly and said with a smile, "I didn't expect that the problem has been solved before I even got there." "What is the problem?" "It's nothing, friend. I don't feel so anxious now. Why don't we travel around and find some fun places to play?" But we have already promised that star level senior. If we don't get good results, it won't be good. Then, just go and compete, I don't care. The real body has done what it was scheduled to do and got what it wanted. So the biggest contribution of the clone in this Jianghu star field is to search for the data here and make as much of a demonstration area for the Earth and the Orion arm as possible. Better than nothing. Jia Yan and the scholar-like sage-level expert have been sent to a place half a light-year away from Planet City by a star. This is where the stars gather, and a large number of genius-level warriors come here. Brother Assassin, there are many geniuses here, so don't be too careless. I understand, it will all depend on my performance tomorrow. The monkey clone chuckled. He no longer needs to care about so many details how he wants to behave. At worst, Wu Zun discovers that this is his clone, and he can't do anything in the meantime. At most, he will just treat it as playing. The other end. Demonic energy, which is an aura that is different from ordinary practitioners in the Jianghu starfield, is flowing in the air. Bang! A huge body fell from the sky, throwing up dust. My friend, what you said is completely inconsistent with the fighting power you showed. A tiny figure in black clothes appeared looming next to the fallen strong man. Nearby, there were looks of disbelief but numbness. Does this look like a venerable? Not even the mid-level star warriors can defeat him. What kind of existence is it? The peak strength of the venerable can defeat a stellar mid-level, and it is not an ordinary stellar mid-level. There are still real geniuses in the world. We used to sit in a well and watch the sky. Jia Yan heard these voices, but he blushed a little. After all, he is the clone of a senior domain master, and he comes here to bully the weak. This is also a dark history for him. However, Jia Yan didn't think much more. He just showed that he had many associations and interests in the so-called demon sect. It wasn't the demon cult's training techniques that attracted him. It was the existence of the demon cult itself that gave him inspiration. There must be such a villain in Orion's arm, or an existence that is different from the mainstream. Only in this way will a virtuous circle be created internally, each putting pressure on the other. Jia Yan admired it very much. He was very sure that there was a demon sect in Jianghu Star territory, and it was probably created by the original setting sect. This is why Jia Yan thought of taking advantage of this and creating a similar reference point in the Orion arm. Villains or factions with different ideas need to have a certain amount of power, so that they can stimulate the entire region to move forward. Even this so-called faction can be born on the Earth. The Earth will bear the brunt of development and will naturally be promoted. Jia Yan chewed on the idea and wondered how to get started. Now that the relics on the White Dolphin side must be just a matter of time, then his group of clones should start studying and learning from the practices of other regions. Each clone's small notebook is quickly filled with all kinds of small details and ideas. Is it really that simple for you to hand over the body of the White Dolphin to him? Just where the two senior territory lords left, the two senior territory lords did not return directly to their jurisdictional star areas, but gathered in a certain area to discuss matters. The spiritually gifted senior domain master was the most unwilling. Oh, what can you do if you don't want to hand it back? You have seen Jia Yan's strength, but he is still talented in subspace. Even if we entangle 3 or 2 comrades to come to encircle and suppress him, we will definitely not be able to pose a threat to his life. And after being targeted by them, the losses will be even greater, and the gains are simply not worth the losses. Another strong man shook his head. To be honest, the White Dolphin's physical body has a breakthrough effect on my mental power. I am not very willing to hand it over to him. The mentally gifted man had an extremely sinister expression. Then give it a try, the other person said silently, and was about to leave. However, the mentally gifted man stopped him. I don't need you to deal with him too, but I need you to delay, at least for a month. In short, you can find an excuse. After a month, I'll see if I can find ways to restrain him. A month. The senior domain master who was about to leave stopped, looked back at the mentally gifted man, paused for a long time, and then asked, "Are you sure? How sure are you? Or do you have no idea at all? I won't accompany you like this." "I'm sure, and I already have some thoughts in my heart, so you can rest assured. Besides, I just need you to find a way to delay it for me for a month. This matter will not drag you down." "Well, I will delay it for a month. If you have any problems, remember not to drag me into the water." The most benevolent and righteous. After a moment of uncertainty, the strong man agreed, and without saying a word, rushed into the depths of the starry sky, obviously unwilling to promise anything more. 1 month is probably enough. The spiritually gifted senior domain master had a sinister expression on his face. He determined the direction and flew straight towards his hometown. In fact, it is normal to think about it. As a strong man, how can he be willing to be threatened by another person of the same level? After all, they are three senior domain masters. Of course, in the end, the only reason that drove the mentally gifted person to dare to resist was that he had felt before that the white dolphin's physical body was biased towards increasing mental power, so it had a good effect on him. So he was reluctant. Far away in the central star area of the Jianghu star territory, there is a place deep in the Jianghu star territory that is the most mysterious and mysterious. It is the starry sky where Wuzun lives and practices. There is even a white dwarf star with extremely strong gravity here. The powerful martial master cultivated here, and sometimes even dared to rush into the surface of the white dwarf star, withstood the gravity of the white dwarf star for half a day, and then rushed out of the planet. Uncle Wuzun, are you really unable to make the decision for your nephew? A white dolphin knelt on the outer layer of the starry sky and made a cry. Wuzun was practicing hard on the surface of the white dwarf star, doing push-ups. The astonishing gravity pressed on his body, making him panting. Senior Territory Lord, if you don't fight until the end, no one will know the outcome. After a while, the cultivating martial master responded slowly and calmly. He Jia Yan has a trump card, and so do I, Wuzun, and the other two friends have good fighting skills. This time it's not that you saw us lose, we really lost. It's just that the gain outweighs the loss. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2954. Uncle, nephew knows, it's a bit selfish to say this, but I really want to avenge my father's murder. I don't know how long it will be on my own, so my nephew hopes that uncle can take action. The white dolphin cried, and suddenly found that the giant monster practicing on the planet had disappeared. The next second, a figure appeared in front of him. The giant punched the stellar dolphin in the face, sending him flying hundreds of kilometers backwards. You bastard! I took you in with good intentions, but you think you can order me. The son of the white dolphin who flew out was not seriously injured. At this time, he looked at the terrifying giant with some shock. He felt as if he had met this strong man who cared for his mother and son for the first time. I don't dare, but uncle, please don't ignore my father's affairs. There is nothing we can do about this matter. He came to our door, and his strength is even more terrifying than what others have rumored. I can't make the decision. Unless we in the Northern Territory have another collective sniper attack by the evolved beasts, we can only do this by uniting many senior domain masters. Matter. The white dolphin young man looked extremely ugly. He is so powerful that even you, and even two senior domain lord level powerhouses, can't beat him. Wuzun moved his mouth unnaturally, and then said after a moment, it's not that he is powerful, but that this person is a subspace talent. After subspace talent has been cultivated to the domain lord level, it is already quite difficult to hunt down. What we are afraid of is not his physical combat. However, if you cannot kill with one blow, you may suffer backlash. The son of white dolphin struggled to think of anything else to say, but before that, Wuzun said indifferently, I have taken great care of your mother and son. Don't force me to continue to pay. Do you understand what I mean? I understand, my nephew, take your leave. The son of the white dolphin stood up and left. If this son didn't have great talent, I would never tolerate his attitude. But if he dares to do something bold, he should be much better than his father. At least he won't follow in his father's footsteps. Wuzun looked at the back of the son of the white dolphin, and when he thought of the white dolphin, his expression darkened slightly. In fact, he once taught the white dolphin. When white dolphin was young, around the time when the star was at its peak, he came to the Jianghu star territory and visited Wuzun. Later, Wu Zun was delighted to see Ligzhen and taught him with all his heart. At that time, Wu Zun thought that White Dolphin could inherit his mantle at some level and carry forward his martial arts among the Bai family. However, no one could have imagined that the White Dolphin would die earlier than the dying senior domain master. But the appearance of his son gave Wu Zun another thought. White Dolphin asked him to take care of his posthumous son, and even hinted in his suicide note that he was willing to pay a price, and that price was in the hands of White Dolphin's former wife, the female military god. But Wu Zun is an old and strong man. He is still old and wants an orthodox Quan disciple. Son of the White Dolphin is a good candidate. Otherwise, why would he have such a fierce confrontation with Jia Yan because of the son of White Dolphin? But now he is a little unsure. The son of the White Dolphin. He looks a bit like his damn dad, a man with no brains either. That's all, help him get through this calamity. Apart from Jia Yan himself, how can other forces of the Orion Arm pose a threat to him again? It is said that this Jia Yan has not always been in the Orion Arm. Wu Zun sighed. Why is it so difficult to find a successor? Buzz. Inside subspace. Jia Yan did not devour the palace this time. Instead, he came to the deep level of 10-dimensional space. For him, the 10-dimensional space has long been a natural place for him to swim like a fish in water. Today, he even feels that it is not impossible for him to enter the 11th dimension after his mental breakthrough. But he didn't try it directly. It's not too late to try again after swallowing the head of the White Dolphin in your hand. I'm sorry, White Dolphin, you want to devour me, and I will devour you in turn. This is the reincarnation of heaven. Jia Yan looked at the familiar face of the White Dolphin and felt complicated for some reason. This guy is, after all, his biggest enemy. Now that he has fallen into such an end, he can be considered to have brought it upon himself, but it is also depressing. If one of them is not good, Jia Yan believes that he may also end up like this. If you are strong, you can kill him. Today he can kill the White Dolphin, but tomorrow someone else may come to kill him. Maybe the person who succeeded in doing this is your son. Jia Yan smiled jokingly, but he quickly wiped away these messy thoughts. He would not overturn his idea of sparing the son of the White Dolphin because of this, and he would not go back on his words when he made a decision. Look down on yourself like that. Soon. A needle shot out from the mouthparts of Jia Yan's giant mosquito and pierced the White Dolphin's head. The body of the White Dolphin is roughly the same size as Jia Yan's body, and because it has the shape of a dolphin, the weight of the entire body is actually heavier than that of Jia Yan. A huge head is almost equivalent to 1/3 of Jia Yan's weight. In this way, the harvest from absorbing this head may exceed Jia Yan's imagination. Gurgling gurgling. There are 6 mosquito needles in total, each of which performs its own duties. For example, some are used to clear the way, some are used to tear the target's skin, and some are responsible for spitting out anesthetic liquid. However, Jia Yan avoided the troublesome step of anesthesia liquid. In other words, when he had not used anesthesia liquid a few times in his life, this organ had already degenerated inside his body. It penetrated smoothly into the head of the White Dolphin. A completely different feeling from what he had swallowed before hit his mind. Well, they really complement each other for me. Jia Yan's eyes soon showed full of joy. It's worth taking the risk and entering the creative world created by White Dolphin. Starting from the mouthparts, the body, brain, and trunk of the White Dolphin, as well as the skull material of the White Dolphin, were turned into blue energy objects by Jia Yan, which were gradually sucked into the mouth needle and then flowed into the body of the giant mosquito. The abdomen of Jia Yan's mosquito body swelled visibly to the naked eye. If any outsiders were here and saw such a shocking scene, their scalp would go numb. A small mosquito sucking blood is already extremely frightening, let alone a giant mosquito that is 30 kilometers in size sucking blood. Happy. A bright light soon lit up in Jia Yan's compound eyes. He hasn't eaten in a long time. It's not that after growing into a domain lord level powerhouse, he really doesn't need external nutrition at all, but that he uses cultivation and devouring other substances to transform his body into physical strength. He disdained other substances and had no need to eat them. Gurgling. The white dolphin's body and all the energy, which was converted into azure material, quickly entered Jia Yan's body and quickly became a part of his body. Although it has been dead for a while, because it was properly preserved and the white dolphin is a senior domain master, even if it is left in the starry sky for tens of thousands of years, the power in its body will still exist, so the wasted energy has not disappeared. How many? Wow, so much power, Master is going to get stronger. Aditya flew around Jia Yan operating the subspace aircraft captured from White Dolphin. Fortunately, Jia Yan was concentrating and was not disturbed too much by her. Aditya was flying around as a guard. Nowadays, Jia Yan can't guarantee whether there will be strong people in the 10 dimensions of subspace. After all, at the current level, he is no longer the little subspace talent Mosquito that he didn't see much at the beginning. He dares to travel in several subspaces. I went into deep retreat. The later it gets, the more I feel that there are many levels of strong people in the world, and they are more capable than others. God knows if there will be subspace strong people with similar or even stronger strength passing by. With Edissa as a warning, at least he could wake up in a critical situation. In this way, Edisha was vigilant around her, while Jia Yan gradually used his mouthparts to digest the entire head of the huge white dolphin. After his belly swelled to a large size, he fell into a kind of silence. That's great, my master brother is getting stronger again. Aditya was looking triumphant around her, as if she had become stronger. I just don't know if master brother will have enough time to wake up in a month. Jia Yan and Edisha have received news from the 2 senior domain masters, saying that it will take a month to return to the Jianghu star territory with the remaining body parts of the white dolphin. During this time, Jia Yan just digested the energy of his head. No one knows what level of improved strength it can reach. But Jia Yan could sense that the 3 senior domain masters all hated him to the core. If the outsider asked for any reinforcements, who knows, he might still be defeated. Ever since, he just took the opportunity to swallow the head of the white dolphin, which would also serve as a precautionary measure for himself in the possible battle next. However, his clone did not shrink or stop functioning. Anyway, what he wants to break through is just physical strength. In terms of mental strength, he has already reached a level above the physical body, which does not affect his ability to continue to control his clones, and he can even do so with ease. Brother Assassin, you actually defeated that famous genius. On this day, the battle on the ring only lasted about 10 moves. A junior strong man on the stage fell off the stage with a look of disbelief. The monkey clone of Jia Yan who came up and down the stage, the elegant junior master, was already in disbelief. As a traveler of Jia Yan, he thought that he already knew this foreign sage-level genius very well, but to this day, he found that he still knew little about the assassin. Why is it that after so many fights, you can even defeat the venerable junior genius in the finals? This is the first-level genius in the entire Jianghu star territory. Haha, maybe he is in a bad state today. Jia Yan felt the silence in the audience and the unexpected attention. It's quite interesting. I haven't played anything like the arena tournament for a long time, so I just want to revisit it. I also recorded my participation process for future reference on Earth and Orion Arm. Although the strong man passing by who stepped down from the stage was injured, he did not dare to look at Jia Yan's monkey eyes. He smiled bitterly, this assassin friend is joking. It's not that I'm in a bad state, but that your strength far exceeds my knowledge. I'm afraid I won't be able to sustain even one move if you really do it. Bar. The venerable junior monk almost stopped breathing. This person, one of the top 10 strong men in the entire Jianghu star territory, is a well-known person who always sticks to his word. He has never understood what it means to flatter a horse, so what this person said is almost exactly what he said. I really think so in my heart. Could the assassin defeat the dignified 10th Venerable Junior Genius with one move? It's scary to think about it. Jia Yan didn't show any humility, he just nodded to his opponent and left the ring with great arrogance. All eyes were on him. Even the other first-level Venerable Masters could not ignore this first-level Venerable outsider who appeared out of nowhere. The first and second contestants looked at each other in their respective rest areas beside the ring, their eyes filled with thoughts and surprises. Do you think you can beat this guy? After a long time, I found the second person in Shiyuan and carefully sent a message to the first person. The first player thought for a long time, finally shook his head, and replied through the sound, "No, and I don't know yet whether this guy is still hiding his strength. As far as the strength he is showing now, I am evenly matched with him." The second-placed Venerable hesitated for a moment before sighing, "Sure enough, there are so many capable people in the world. I thought that the geniuses in our Jianghu star territory were just first-class existences. I didn't expect that there are such people evildoer. You are overthinking. There must be geniuses like us in our northern territory. Besides the northern territory, geniuses in the Milky Way are like crucian carp crossing the river. The most typical one should be in the central star territory of the galaxy. It is said that their geniuses abound, and there may be many people who are even more talented than us. The central star territory of the galaxy, I have decided that no matter what ranking I get in this year's genius competition, I will go to the central star territory of the galaxy. I wonder if you are interested in going with me. Let's talk again." Jia Yan didn't know that his pretending to be young genius avatar would have a lifelong impact on the top talents here after coming to the arena of the Jianghu star territory. He also didn't know if they would be affected if they went to the galaxy's central star territory. Will death affect their genius? In short, he felt at ease. All this is for the future development of the Orion arm and the Earth. Then the question I have to consider is whether this clone wants to be in the limelight and win the first place. And if it wins, it will definitely be received by Wuzun. Then he will see my status. Will it be embarrassing? Whatever, since we are all participating, we must win first place, otherwise it will be embarrassing. The monkey clone smiled. Boom. The other end. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2955. The Other End. The aura of darkness swelled throughout the starry sky. Dark brown eyes stared around. The long, crackling clothes were fluttering in the space, and there was some indescribable coldness and aloofness on the entire young face. Black God, right? You made this condition yourself. I and several mid-level stars will join forces to fight you. If you lose or even die, don't blame us. I won't blame you. Please don't hold back. Behemoths gathered from all directions, and they were several kilometers in size. When they looked at this black-haired humanoid strongman who was only about 1.7 meters tall, their eyes often showed surprise and a little fear. In the past few days, the Black God has become completely famous in this star field. Although the demon sect is weakened, there are still many strong people in the demon section. There are many capable people, and some unfathomable strong men are becoming the foundation of the entire demon sect. No one among the star-level experts dared to say that they would not take the demon sect experts in their eyes at the same level. However, there is such an existence that is not even at the star level, but single-handedly challenged the star-level experts in the entire demon sect. Now the seeing primary level has been completely defeated. The self-proclaimed Black God, after defeating many mid-level stars, called out names and asked the many mid-level star powerhouses in the starry sky to gather together, And then he challenged these powerhouses. Join forces. Are you really going to challenge the lower level stars after challenging me? Good. Haha, you are so bold. Do you know that the lower level stars are only half a step behind the galaxy level? Their strength is completely different from that of the middle level stars like us. Do you want to die? No matter how strong it is, it must be difficult to deal with the combination of several mid-level stars. This is true. Okay, Black God, if you can defeat us and join forces, then the lower ranking stars in our demon sect will accept the challenge. See the real chapter under your hands. Otherwise, the demon sect in this star area will really be embarrassed and thrown into the Lao Lao family. They swarmed up. The black god in the center of the encirclement had a look of satisfaction on his stern face. Each avatar seems to be Jia Yan himself, but in fact, there are slight differences in the will of each avatar. For example, this human avatar who once served as the god of creation has an arrogant and vague appearance. The self-centered temperament revealed is extremely obvious. He said that he came to this demon sect area for a challenge, and he would carry it out firmly to the end. And test it to see how this clone of yours is different from other clones, and also see how much impact it has on this clone after the main body is enhanced. Is this the back order of stars? As long as we defeat them, we can really see if I have a chance to challenge the back order of stars from the outside world. Only by defeating the lower level stars can you have the opportunity to continue to improve, and finally reach the opportunity to challenge the galaxy level. And if a clone can challenge the galaxy level. At that time, Jia Yan was really one of the most powerful men when he stepped out. If there was any problem, his true form would not be the only one to take action. Intermediate stars surrounded this clone one after another, gearing up. They agree that the black god in front of them is relatively powerful, but if they want to deal with so many middle-level celebrities from the demon sect, they really don't think that they and others will be defeated. The mid-level star's strength has already been called a famous person in this magic section. No matter which sect, such strength is considered to be a high-level person, and he may be the leader of the sect. They don't want to lose, and they can't lose. Everyone, please take action. Okay, His Excellency Haishan makes such a request, so don't blame us for not being merciful. All the mid-level star warriors showed an aggressive attitude on their faces and quickly joined forces to attack. There is no sworn hatred between them and the Black God, but it is almost like an incident like kicking the gym, which is hardly a good thing, so it makes sense that they would not show mercy. The people around him did not rush forward like mortals, but two people pounced on him first. Their huge figures were as heavy as asteroids. Jia Yan's black god clone's eyes never blinked. Facing a large number of mid-level stars, this clone will never be able to relax. He even extracted a large amount of spiritual abilities from his true body, which almost had an impact on the true body that was breaking through at this time. The black power comes from the power of the black god who created the world, and white energy emerges from the palm of his left hand. This is the power of the white god from the white dolphin. After breaking through the world of creation, not only Jia Yan's true body had a breakthrough, but also the body of the black god. Because both parties use energy together, it cannot be said that the clone has taken away the power of the real body. The two kinds of energy are superimposed between the two palms, creating a potential energy similar to yin and yang dao. This is what makes the black god clone most different from other clones, and it is also the real reason why his strength leads all clones. The power in the palm quickly triggered an incredible turbulence of positive and negative energy, and met the two mid-level stars that were attacking. A shocking collision occurred, and the slender figure was able to withstand a monster several kilometers long. Jia Yan's black god clone also has a unique advantage, or it can be said to be a disadvantage, that is, their bodies are lighter and more agile, and their speed is extremely fast. But at the same time, the attack power is not strong enough to be able to defeat the cauldron with one blow. So after colliding with the first monster, he adopted a one-touch approach to fighting. He quickly ran in another direction, but the top of his head seemed to be trapped in the endless Wuzi mountain, and he saw a 1-kilometer-sized monster slap down. It turned out that another mid-level star besieging him had already attacked. He did not feel uneasy, but firmly seized the opportunity and passed the creature through the gap between his claws. He looked at the other person in a daze. Rarely fighting against such a tiny creature, this star almost doesn't know how to play anymore. The Black God clone will naturally use his own advantages to the extreme. It can even be said that before he was sent out to the outside world by Jia Yan, because he maintained a certain degree of self-awareness, he had been thinking about how to make good use of the advantages of his clone. Defeat powerful enemies as much as possible. It's a bit sad to say that although their main consciousness belongs to the giant mosquito Jia Yan, they all have a certain amount of self-awareness because of their consciousness needs, and this is the reason why they want to survive. If you don't want to be devoured by the real body and merge back into the real body because your fighting power is not strong enough or it doesn't help the real body much, then you have to perform well. Even the strongest clone of the Black God in his true form has been under great pressure recently because of this. So he thought about a lot of good stuff, and now is the time to show it. Second echelon, this is the time, come on. There were two other stellar mid-level experts who rushed towards the Black God clone. The Black God Jia Yan, who could originally compete with the two mid-level stars, stared at the two newcomers for a moment, and then he quickly felt a shock all over his body. The speed that was his greatest advantage was restricted by the opponent. It turned out that these two were actually strong men in the spiritual field. They released shocking brainwave power and restricted the surrounding space, making it difficult for Jia Yan to move. Stop resisting stubbornly. It is impossible for the venerable level to challenge a group of mid-level stars. The two powerful men of spiritual power were still speaking tirelessly, and the words coming out of their mouths were stirring with a hypnotic energy. It's impossible for others, but it's not possible for me. Jia Yan shouted categorically, blowing away the other party's power that affected his mind. If he is really a powerful person at the venerable level, then forget it, but he is a senior territory lord level existence, and it is simply impossible for this mid-level star's willpower to influence him. But these two strong men in terms of spiritual power still had a real impact on Jia Yan's influence. He couldn't help but need more strength to deal with the attack of the two stellar middle-level strong men who were charging ahead. Moreover, he must also devote part of his attention to be careful and vigilant about those who release brainwave power to interfere with his mental talent. After all, someone who can become a stellar mid-level cannot grow up just by relying on interference. When necessary, a person can, after being slapped, it might not be any worse than the physically powerful mid-level star. Team 3. The last two people behind them sprinted forward with cold eyes. They really didn't expect that the four people in front of them were still a little unable to successfully take down this foreign venerable level. If this venerable level escapes from the hands of the middle-level powerhouses of the four stars, or if they are beaten to a draw, then their face will also be lost. So they simply took action directly, the last two of them, taking advantage of the fact that the tiny venerable level powerhouse in front of them was still surrounded by four people, and defeated them forcefully, so that they could save some face. Buzz. Buzz. The two strong men are actually strong in the field. Stellar level powerhouses, at least in the Orion Arm area, like to use things like domains. When Jia Yan was at the star level, there was a time when he believed that domain was the king. But after visiting the central star field of the Milky Way, the black hole area, and even the northern giant star, he understood that at the star level stage, the field can only be regarded as one of the means at most, not absolute. But in this area, the vast area where the North Territory and the Orion Arm are located, it is natural for the stellar level to be used. Jia Yan was still wondering why they didn't use the field just now, but he didn't expect that they would be waiting for him here. You are fast, then reduce your speed. One's field is to create powerful spatial spiritual power obstacles. It seems to have little impact, but this move has the biggest impact on Jia Yan. At least he can no longer use his small body to increase his speed and flexibility to the strongest. It is beyond the reach of the researchers. The hallucinogenic realm. The other one is in the field of illusion. In this field, everyone thinks that they are in a hot space, and the impact of the battle is greatly weakened. Magma is even spewing in all directions, so be careful. Originally, the hallucinogenic field was also a relatively useful skill in the field, but it was not very useful in the Black God clone. Because he seems to be at the level of a venerable, but his mental resistance is truly that of a senior domain lord. The role of the realm, especially the hallucinogenic one, is almost zero for him. The 6 mid-level stars are now all taking action, and their coordination is perfect. It can be said that they attach great importance to this foreign genius at the top of the venerable. But despite such precautions, unexpected events still occurred. First of all, the Black God clone didn't suffer from illusions at all. It flew directly through a large area of hot magma, leaving everyone stunned for a while. He is extremely resistant to hallucinations. Otherwise, even if he knew it was an hallucination, he would still be burned by the lava because of my ability. That hallucinogenic powerhouse was in bad shape. In a state of uneasiness, several other mid-level star warriors were affected by hallucinations and did not dare to fly too fast for fear of being burned by the magma. This also neutralized the impact of Jia Yan's greatly reduced speed, allowing him to rush to one of the stellar mid-level warriors who was fighting him head-on and punch him out. Positive and negative power penetrated the entire arm. The mid-level star roared with a sound of panic, and a large area of his cheek was hit with dents. It's like a little ant making a dent in a human's cheek. It's quite an irritating sight. What the hell is this? Everyone gasped, and everyone looked even more suspicious. Find bookstore. The injured mid-level star reacted quickly and distanced himself from Jia Yan. But after Jia Yan took the lead, he already had momentum. With this momentum, he volleyed towards another strong man. Surprisingly, the mid-level star was an entity from the illusion system. The moment Jia Yan attacked, he converged his own domain and used his hands and feet together, like a gliding bird, to directly pull away. Large interception distance. It turns out that the field is only one of his strengths. Another strength of his is that he is generally more flexible and faster than the Black God clone. Take your territory and don't release it again. The expressions of the other mid-level stars suddenly became much more relaxed. Jia Yan doesn't care about the hot field, so he might as well close it, because opening it will cause them to have an impact. The extremely fast expert in the field of hallucinations felt very uncomfortable. Because his hallucinogenic field is almost very oppressive at the same level, many people don't want to fight with him. After all, he has both the ability in the hallucinogenic field and the advantage of being extremely fast, so many people fight with him. Almost always thankless. Unexpectedly, today, in front of a venerable level existence that is less than a star level, this bit of pride of his is shattered. No need to run away, I will defeat you next time. Jia Yan was behind him, biting and chasing him as if he was incompatible with each other. Behind them, the middle-level experts from the 5 stars were chasing after them. The field was always open, but it failed to close the distance between them and Jia Yan. However, the being in the hallucinogenic field was by no means a fool. He circled around and joined the 5 people, but Jia Yan failed to catch him. Okay, it's time to end this challenge farce. Your Excellency, if you only have this ability, our 6 major existences will bully the smaller ones. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2956. Suddenly, a star mid-level exhaled deeply, and the other 5-star mid-levels behind him also changed their expressions solemnly. The Black God clone looked indifferent, I think that's it for the intermediate stars. If you have any other means, feel free to use them. The reason why our demon sect is called a demon sect is precisely because we master combat skills that ordinary power sects cannot master. Today, I will let you show me the combat skills of my magic section. The entire expressions of the 6 middle-level stars of the demon sect have changed, and the explosive power of their bodies has also slightly changed. Jia Yan looked a little uneasy. This is a self-reaction to a slight sense of crisis. Demon Gate. It has been a while since he came to this Jianghu star territory, so he cannot say that he has no information about the demon sect at all. The reason why the demon sect was excluded from the orthodoxy by the entire Jianghu sect is because they have mastered certain combat skills that are completely different from ordinary people. They have higher ability values than ordinary strong men, but their training requirements are also high, and the combat skills they have learned through training are also high. His abilities were very different from ordinary combat abilities. Over time, he was gradually excluded from the righteous sect, and even because of his strength, he was established as a villain, that is, a demonic sect. Are you about to see the power of the devil now that others cannot tolerate? Jia Yan was quite happy. It can open your eyes, maybe it will be a new reference idea. The 6 powerful men quickly joined forces and exuded terrifying energy that put people to shame. Jia Yan's expression also became serious, and his figure was looming. I'm afraid the people in the demonic sect in front of him won't know that he is not ready to give up his true body, nor does he think that just one true body can withstand the moves jointly performed by the 6 powerful men. He prepares to enter subspace. Anyway, until now, no one knew that his clone had subdimensional abilities. The energy is aggressive, roaring in the starry sky. Is this power somewhat similar to the power of the Black God that I have? The Black God clones were startled. It turns out that the joint power exerted by the other party seems to be very dark, and a strong negative emotion is vented from the joint place. At first glance, it looks somewhat similar to the power of the Black God he has mastered. But mine is just black, without any emotion. The negative emotions in their energy are too serious. I don't need to learn from them. I just learn from them. It's still okay. The Black God Jia Yan remained unmoved. The middle-level powerhouse of the 6 stars slapped him, and there was a faint giant energy palm in the sky aimed at him and slapped him down, and the speed was as fast as lightning. See how unscrupulous you are. Those mid-level stars are now using real fire. Seeing that Jia Yan is not dodging or avoiding, there is anger in his eyes, and he has not restrained the murderous intention in his moves. But what surprised them was that until the attack landed on the body of Black God Jia Yan was still there with the old god and looked confident. Call. The palm fell, but there was no feeling that the attack hit a real object. This blow consumed a lot of everyone's physical energy. What's even more exaggerated is that such a huge amount of physical energy was wasted. You can clearly see that you hit the opponent, but why don't you feel that you hit anything? They have already preconceived the idea that Black God Jia Yan has not shown any other talents until now, which means that he should have no backup plan. After all, how can the venerable level still have a chance to defeat the mid-level strong men from the stars? They really couldn't believe it. However, the truth is often so magical. The Black God clone still has the subdimensional ability as a backup. Subspace. He is actually a subspace talent. Quickly separate your forces and force him out of the subspace. Because the Black God clone itself does not have real subspace talent, the subspace level it can enter is not too deep, but it seems to be 3 or 4 levels. In this level of subspace, there are still many ways for the intermediate star to force him out. However, the Black God clone cannot compare with the real body at the subspace level, but it does not mean that there is also a gap in his subspace combat skills. In essence, the Black God's clone is also Jia Yan, and the combat skills and levels he masters are the same as those of his real body. In subspace, the situation is different. All the stars present felt extremely dizzy. As the best escape and assassination talents on PA are with those with gravitational wave talents, subspace is almost equal to trouble and difficulty in killing in today's galaxy. Geniuses who can kill enemies beyond levels are rare, but escaping through levels is something that almost every person with a subspace talent can do. When you are at the Earth level, you can escape the pursuit of the heaven level. When you are at the heaven level, you can escape the pursuit of the starry sky level, and when you are at the starry sky level, you can escape the pursuit of the venerable level. By analogy, any normal strong person will have a huge headache when seeing a strong person with subspace talent. Boom. Fortunately, there were 6 strong men present, and there was always someone who was good at trapping the enemy. A strong man tried his best to exert his energy, and it turned out to be a stable brainwave power that sealed a large area of starry sky, making it difficult to escape from the subspace. Well done, you caught him in a trap. The morale of some strong people was high, and immediately someone tried to break into the subspace with their brainwave power. As mentioned before, the talent of subspace is a headache for everyone, but this also shows that as long as a strong person with some vision will take the time to investigate and try the subspace, even if it is difficult to move in the subspace, but the stellar level can penetrate the brainwave power into subspace, and everyone can do it. As for the depths of the subspace on the 3rd and 4th floors, it is still easy for them to put their attack power into it. In an instant, everyone was full of energy, released their power into the subspace, and cooperated seamlessly to suppress the Black God's clone wandering inside. Oh! It's quite a trick. The Black God clone's eyes were filled with surprise. This group of strong men in the Northern Territory is different from the outside world. For those around the Orion Arm, even if someone knows the subspace talent, it is difficult to think of countermeasures, but it is different here. They can react immediately and quickly. The best countermeasures indicate that one has either fought against someone with strong subspace talent, or has studied related countermeasures. But if you want me to surrender, that's still a long way to go. Jia Yan's face showed an intriguing look, and then he moved around in the subspace, like a slippery loach. You're too skilled in space talent this time, aren't you? No, I can't catch it. Why can he move so smoothly in the 4th level of space? No wonder, no wonder, no wonder this person dares to challenge the stellar powerhouses of our magic section. Even our middle-class stars cannot defeat him. It turns out that his greatest reliance is his subspace talent. Don't worry, even though I can't catch him, he doesn't have any means to wait for me. These middle-class stars from the outside world may have some misunderstanding about the existence of subspace talents, and they are all filled with emotions. I hate my parents for not injecting my talent into the subdimensional world. This is so outrageous. In this situation, the best situation is to maintain an unwinnable and undefeated situation. At least after they saw Jia Yan wandering in the subspace, they gave up the idea of dealing with him. How to catch such a subspace talented character? If you can, arrest me. What can't I do to them? When Jia Yan heard this, he smiled directly. Probably after testing the strength of this Black God clone and having first-hand information about fighting against mid-level stellar powerhouses, he was able to fight wholeheartedly. Let me give you a try. The combat experience of a senior domain lord is terrifying. Jia Yan suddenly moved. It seemed that 6 brainwave powers were lying in front of him, blocking the entire shallow layer of the subspace. But in his eyes, this blockade was like a hole full of holes, and he could break out in an instant. In fact, it was just like that. He walked directly through the brainwave power blockade of the 2 middle-level powerhouses of the 2 stars as if he was strolling in a leisurely manner. Your magic skills are probably based on some kind of dark matter training method. Power is powerful, but this kind of power must be hit hard. Jia Yan smiled jokingly and advanced, wiping out several captured brainwaves and bombarding them with power, and reached the 1st level of the subspace. This place is only a thin layer of space membrane away from the normal starry sky outside. Look at him, don't let him sneak up on you. How is it possible? In front of 6 pairs of eyes like ours, he can do a sneak attack. The middle-level eyes of the 6 stars were about to burst, and they felt a little frightened. However, among their rational thoughts, there was also the thought that Jia Yan would not have the courage to leave the subspace. After all, they have been alert to the subspace, and they can clearly see Jia Yan's movement in the subspace. Under such circumstances, it is almost like a myth that he can successfully attack in a majestic manner. But, as a senior domain master, how could Jia Yan disappoint them? Just when 6 pairs of eyes were locked on the tiny young man's figure on the first level of the subspace. This figure seemed to dissipate with the wind, and in an instant, it disappeared without a trace. Only a faint afterimage was left, blooming in front of the 6 powerful men, and then gradually disappeared into nothingness. What? Disappeared? Careful! The frightened strong men were suddenly surprised when they discovered that they had lost the form of the black god Jia Yan. And when several people reminded him, the subspace behind the illusion-creating expert quietly opened up. Although the hallucination talent seems to have little impact on Jia Yan. But Jia Yan himself knew that even if he was suddenly hallucinated by this strong man in the electric and flint battle, he might be temporarily sluggish. Maybe this kind of impact is not that big in the eyes of ordinary star-level people, but for Jia Yan, it is an extremely serious impact. Surrounded by many star-level mid-level stars, this little time can definitely affect the balance of victory and defeat. So his first target was the stellar mid-level player. Sorry, man, let's get some sleep. Jia Yan whispered in this guy's ear. You. The strong man's demeanor changed drastically, and he was about to raise some strength to resist or counterattack, but before that, Jia Yan's forward and reverse attack force directly used Jia Yan's palm to hit the middle-level strong man in the star. Above the head. For any strong man, his head is a critical point. Moreover, Jia Yan's positive and negative power has a terrible shock force. The continuous positive and negative force is like the sound of bells and drums, which has been vibrating deep in the head of this strong man. This caused him to be confused for a long time. Can't take it easy. From the external appearance, it looks like he has fainted. Quick support. Look how he's doing. The other 5 powerful men had just arrived to support them at this moment. But Jia Yan smiled evilly at them, stepped back, and entered the subspace before the leader's attack arrived, allowing his attack to fall into the empty space. He has a very weird power. Although he is not injured, he will remain in this state for a long time. This, isn't hurt. Is this guy still showing mercy? When they heard that someone was checking the condition of the injured, everyone felt incredulous. The venerable level is fighting against mid-level stars, or against so many mid-level stars. It sounds quite magical to others. But if you add to this venerable level being actually maintained a friendly and merciless attitude while fighting against the mid-level strong men of the stars. This is a bit unreasonable. It's not an exaggeration to kill someone and kill someone's heart. For a moment, they just felt that the level of the 2 sides should be reversed. They and others were at the venerable level, while the other party was at the intermediate level of the star. Otherwise, how can we explain it? Everyone. It is not good to be distracted during war. Just when they felt a little strange, a faint figure appeared behind the powerful physical man. The stars who had already been frightened by the news were like a kitten whose tail had been stepped on, and this person reacted instinctively in an instant. Not to attack or fight back, but to choose. Escape. Oh. It was a wise choice, but it was still wrong. Black God Jia Yan, who had just revealed half of his face, had an evil smile on his lips. This half of his face seemed to be drifting in the starry sky with the wind. It was so inexplicable that it suddenly flashed forward several kilometers and caught up with the mid-level star powerhouse, who was panicking. The slap was on the back of the man's head. Spit it out vigorously. The forces of positive and negative are unleashed. Gilug. The stellar mid-level powerhouse couldn't even utter a single sentence. He rolled his eyes and followed the previous stellar mid-level powerhouse into a coma. For a moment, the entire starry sky became desolate. The remaining 4 mid-level stars are no longer a fear. But his soul was shattered. What happened just now? Teleport. Can subspace talents still be used like this? A stellar mid-level powerhouse with some discernment looked at him strangely for a moment, then thought of something, opened his mouth, and couldn't help but say, This senior, you are probably not a true venerable. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's eyes flicked towards the stellar mid-level powerhouse. Including Jia Yan, who had just re-entered the subspace and was preparing to face another round of siege by many mid-level stars. There were also some surprises. What's wrong? Are you just yelling at yourself? In addition, let's not talk about class, civilize you and me. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2957. The mid-level demon sect expert from the side real world was surrounded by everyone's attention and did not suffer from stage fright. I have been staring at the movement in the subspace just now. The way you suddenly advance seems to be teleportation, but in an instant, you shrink your body into the subspace, and then use some subspace ability to move. The 2 levels of subspace distortion have become larger, artificially shortening the distance between subspaces. After you emerge from the subspace again, from an outsider's perspective, you should have teleported. Black God Jia Yan was really a little surprised. He took the initiative to show his figure, and he was right in front of this stellar mid-level powerhouse. Look at this person unscrupulously. This caused the other party to feel terrified for a moment, as if he was being stared at by something terrible. Coupled with what the other party guessed, the person who was calm just now suddenly became nervous. Keep talking. Jia Yan stopped his fear. This kind of subspace method must be an extremely clever method of some kind of subspace talent, and it cannot be used by the venerable level, or even. I think even a star-level subspace talent can't use it. I have fought against a star-level subspace talent and I know this very well, so, you should be a galaxy-level person senior with the above strength. This is your clone, is this junior right? Even Jia Yan was a little embarrassed to have his identity suddenly revealed. Especially when he pretends to be weak. A few days ago, he dragged several star-level people into shamelessly calling them seniors. This matter has been exposed. Should this place be eradicated so that people can be killed and silenced? He is thinking about this seriously. I see, are you a certain powerful senior? No wonder so many of us can't defeat a venerable level. Only a powerful senior like you can use a clone with venerable level strength. Defeat me and wait. I see, other powerful senior clones can't do this. I'm afraid this senior's true body is an extremely powerful superpower. For a moment, the middle-level stars in the rear also reacted, and each one of them had to sneak up and pat the horse. Jia Yan's reasons for killing and silencing him, which he had been holding back for a long time, were finally completely eliminated by these respectful flatteries. Alas, it's okay to be embarrassed, just don't let them know your true identity. I received information yesterday. Maybe the senior, not long after he came to the Jianghu Star Territory, provoked my senior Taishan Baidu Wuzun of the Jianghu Star Territory, and the one who joined forces with the 2 senior domain masters of the Outer Star Territory, Jia Senior Yan. Hey, it is rumored that Senior Jia Yan is also good at subspace talent. Could it be that he is really you? This time, Jia Yan was even more embarrassed. His eyes were murderous as he pierced towards the mid-level star who revealed his true identity, wondering whether he should kill this guy first. The guy was inexplicably stabbed by Jia Yan's murderous gaze and trembled. He was still thinking that he had not offended the senior, so why did he seem to want to kill me? It's better to talk less. It is said that the senior masters have the most impermanent nature. They will take the lives of the weak at every turn for no reason, and they will make many mistakes. He didn't know yet that he had offended this master by saying the wrong thing. Jia Yan was speechless for a moment, and finally scratched the back of his head helplessly. Let's not discuss this matter for now. You can wait until you finish this battle with me first. Senior, I don't dare to wait. Well, when I saw that Jia Yan didn't deny it, I immediately understood that he had guessed it right. This man with incredible combat power is indeed not an ordinary genius, but an extremely powerful clone. No wonder, otherwise in this world, how could there be a mid-level genius fighting against the 6 great stars? If it were Jia Yan, I'm afraid he would have thought of this a long time ago. He is a person who has been to big places. Even within the Northern Superstar, it is not that easy to find a genius who can reach the peak of the venerable world and compete in the middle level of the 6 stars. Maybe it does not exist at all. Whatever you dare or don't dare to do, I told you to do it. It's not that I want to take the opportunity to punish you, but I have my own skills to practice. Oh, I see, that would offend me a lot. The expressions of all the powerful men all changed. It turned out that the senior was not just trying to tease them, but was practicing certain skills. Perhaps, they had noticed before that the senior clone of the venerable level was up to something. At this moment, Jia Yan could no longer use the subspace method to fight these juniors with the tactics of fighting while running away. Otherwise it would be really embarrassing. If we really want to investigate, maybe it won't be long before these people from the demon sect can find out his true identity. He is very powerful, has positive and negative powers, and can also enter the subspace. It is suspected that his real body also has the talent of subspace. In the entire Jianghu star territory, the super strong person who suddenly appeared was him. It's also possible that someone on the opposite side has already begun to suspect. Senior, watch your moves. Knowing the identity of the person in front of them, it is rare that these strong men dare to take action. This powerful attack is good, powerful, and heavy, but the angle of your attack is a little wrong. If you raise it an octave, it should have a stronger effect. Thank you, Senior, for your advice. The mid-level star who took action was dodged by Jia Yan, but his face was filled with joy. Jia Yan is deliberately teaching these stars the intermediate level. Now that his identity has been exposed, it would be hard not to show anything. After all, if you practice on your own and let others act as thugs, you have to pay something. Guidance from a senior domain master is not easy to come by. What's more, now, Jia Yan vaguely does not regard himself as an ordinary senior domain master. Guiding them is not just a matter of words. As for him, he is not a strong-willed person at all, so he will give you some advice as to whether something will go wrong. This was beyond his consideration. No matter how weak it is still stronger than what an intermediate star can think of on his own. Senior, although you are a strong man, you are just a clone now, so be careful. All the powerful men surrounded him and found that Jia Yan actually refused to dodge. Knowing that he wanted to save face, someone suddenly started shouting jokingly. Are you still worried about me? Just try your best. Jia Yan responded with a smile, then Ruiao looked at the speaker, remembering his appearance. I'll have to be cruel later, especially the guy. How can I relieve his anger without beating him into a pig's head? Originally, he really wanted to avoid the limelight for a while, but after saying this, he could no longer save his dignity. He passed by a mid-level star who was attacking his body with all his strength, and found that he was the illusion type, and he woke up at some point. You kid, use your illusion. Don't think it's ineffective. Although I can resist it, you can also cause me to be dizzy for a moment. Oh. The middle-level illusion system star responded quickly. The extraordinary brainwave power spread out, enveloping everyone into a hot hallucination space. Hey, why are you affecting even your own people? There are middle-level stars who are dissatisfied. This is my ability. Just as the illusionist was about to explain, he saw a shadow as slippery as a loach flying out of his illusion space, crossing the magma land, and crashing into a fleshly expert. Puff. The guy was attacked by positive and negative forces, his head was filled with waves, and his whole body involuntarily entered a dizzy state. Senior, are you using tricks? The magic sex strongman from the hallucination system finally reacted, and he was instantly filled with shame and anger. Hey, in battle, you must use all possible means. This is the second lesson I teach you. Jia Yan's face did not change. If you don't kill a physical type first, he will be really difficult to defeat. And he was right. A strong person in the hallucination system could really cause him to lose consciousness for a moment. However, this guy's ability was not developed to a very strong level, so even his own people would be affected by him. This was not his own problem. Jia Yan reused his unmatched speed. After his identity was revealed, he no longer pretended to be so ruthless. As we all know, if you want to pretend to be an ordinary strong person, then strength has a problem with endurance. The clone can borrow the power of the real body infinitely, which means that he can always be at the upper limit of the clone's power. At least in terms of energy, he does not have to consider any waste. Once the speed is increased, it can be maintained indefinitely. At least if all the power of the real body is wasted, it will not be completely consumed. Of course, it is inevitable that the real body that is currently breaking through will have some instability. But it doesn't matter. At most, he will be beaten by the real body next time they meet. The minds of both parties are completely connected. I think the real body can also understand his difficulties, right? So fast. Simply cannot stop. The mid-level Star Warriors were stunned with eyes splitting when they saw it. Once the speed of the Black God clone is maintained at its peak, it is endless and there is almost no need to stop. Puff puff. He found the right opportunity and crashed into the stellar mid-level powerhouse of the illusion system. Although everyone worked together to hinder him, because the speed had increased, even the mid-level star couldn't catch such a small figure. The magic sect master of the hallucination department felt his head buzzing, and the feeling he had just experienced came back to him. It's over, I have to faint for a while again, and this time, it seems to be heavier than before. Of course Jia Yan would take heavy action, because such a hallucination guy could wake up quickly. If he couldn't learn his lesson, wouldn't he be even more valuable in the eyes of others? After all, it's all a matter of face. The second one also entered a state of chaos, and the next step was even simpler. The ones who can really pose the greatest threat to Jia Yan are the two strong men of the physical body. This aspect is different from the competition between strong men of the same level. Because whether it is illusion or spiritual, Jia Yan has his own body as his backing. To a certain extent, these two abilities are almost impossible to defeat him. Therefore, after solving the existence of a physical combat type, there is only one combat type opponent left, and there is no way to make a splash. Jia Yan adopted the method of maintaining speed and knocked over one by one. While being cool and unrestrained, he did not forget to point out these star levels. You can't do this. As a strong man, how can you back down just because your opponent is a senior domain master? Oh, I forgot to mention that I am a senior domain master, right? It's not too late to know now. How are you? Are you still trembling? Sigh. Jia Yan didn't know whether he was giving advice or casting a shadow on the other person's life. In short, after he knocked out another physically powerful man, things became easier. The remaining two mentally talented people were at the stellar level, but they were simply trying to use their hands as chariots. He knocked them on the head one by one, and the collective fell into chaos. Does this count as my victory? Alas, I can't even beat my clone. It seems you still have to practice. Jia Yan stopped his rapid pace and paused in the starry sky. He put his hands behind his back and put on a Taishan and Baidu look. Haha, senior, it's natural for you to win. Haha, I'll let them practice later. Suddenly, there was a compliment in the starry sky, and then from the black curtain of the starry sky not far away, a being exuding a powerful aura emerged. Oh? Territory Lord level? Why do you call me senior? Jia Yan should have pretended to have known that this person was around, but he really didn't know that the Domain Lord was around, and he was still a little bit genuinely surprised. There is only one Territory Lord in this demon sect territory, and it doesn't mean the one in front of you, right? Haha, Senior Jia Yan, your name has now spread throughout the Jianghu Star territory. Who knows the Domain Lord level at Zhiyuan? I am only an ordinary Domain Lord. It is natural for me to call you Senior. Thing. The Territory Lord walked out of the dark scene with a cautious smile, but did not dare to get too close to Jia Yanla. It's not that he's even afraid of the clone, but he's afraid of the real body behind the clone. 2 or 3 days have passed. The fact that Jia Yan single-handedly fought against 3 senior domain lords and beat them to a pulp has already been spread among the high-end powerhouses in the Jianghu Star territory with the help of busybodies, and the domain lord in front of him is one of them. Those star-level stars who fought against the Black God's clone could guess his true identity, and of course this territory lord could also guess it. Facing a strong man who could fight against 3 senior domain masters, including the martial lord whom Jianghu Starry Domain regarded as a god, he felt that he could not respect him enough. Just call him senior, how can he be stingy with his words? Tisk, tisk, you're so sweet, I don't even want to embarrass you, Jia Yan smiled pointedly. The other party was obviously shocked, and then asked bitterly, Senior, what you said is obvious. If Senior has any request, just ask me to wait. Where is the difficulty? I will do things for Senior. It's a matter of course. It's just that, Senior is such a master, so he certainly won't embarrass me and others. These words are airtight, and he is truly worthy of being the top expert of the demon sect who walks in the cracks of the Jianghu Star realm. Ha ha ha, okay, I won't waste any more words. First of all, you go and arrange for a lower level star. I said that I will challenge all the star level players like you, so naturally I have to do it. Okay, I'm so lucky to be able to get guidance from my seniors. I'm a star in this faction. The Domain Lord's face looked much better. It's a new volume, thank you all for your genuine subscription support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2958. What Jia Yan said is indeed reality. Get the guidance of a senior domain master, and the senior domain master uses a clone that is far weaker than the star level to give guidance. Pure experience and skills, no matter which star level has personally experienced it, will have great benefits. But what Jia Yan said next made his expression turn pale with shock. Don't be happy first. Secondly, I need your magic sex fighting skills, do you understand what I mean? It's not the big name kind, but the magic sex explosive power skills they just used. I feel that it's so important to my clone. It will work. Hey, why are you crying and showing your face? Does this request make it difficult for you? No. No, it's not difficult at all. If you can win the favor of seniors, my fighting skills from the demon sect will naturally be given with both hands. The domain lord level powerhouse was extremely bitter, but his thoughts still came. When he first learned that the senior had deliberately used a clone to come to their land of demons, and to challenge their star-level incognito, he had vaguely noticed that the senior should be using this body. The clone is conducting research on certain combat techniques. Then it is inevitable that you will want to peek at their magic sex special skills. After all, their magic sex combat ability is also quite unique. He didn't dare not agree. He didn't say whether the senior domain master would be angry. He only said that what this person did in the center of Jianghu Star territory spread out. They dared to resist the senior. The demon sect was already facing enemies from both sides. I am afraid that we will be besieged by more forces preparing to vote for Jia Yan. The interests and complex emotions involved are inextricably linked. Anyway, he didn't dare to respond. That's good. You arrange for someone to come over first. If I win, I will go and see the skills of your magic section, but if I lose, I will leave immediately. So you have to choose your candidates well. Yes, yes. I'll go right away. The domain lord's expression perked up. Jia Yan used a conspiracy. That is to force them to bring a top star level powerhouse in the demon sect. He really can't beat him at the top. But for the later ones, if there is a stronger one, the Black God clone must still have a chance. This time Jia Yan was not kept waiting any longer. It is easy to ask God but difficult to send him away. This powerful man borrowed the help of the demon sect for a difficult reason and refused to leave. Now I'm afraid that people will squat here and never leave. So it would be better to finish what he wants to do as soon as possible and send him away as soon as possible. Less than half a day later, the territory lord level figure came again in the starry sky. Behind him was a big, suspicious guy. This guy is quite interesting. He is extremely slender, but his body is as light as a paper monster. Hello, Senior Jia Yan, this is the second elder in our section. His status is only lower than mine. His strength is that of a lower level star. Please enlighten me. I've met Senior Jia Yan. The suspicious paper monster master saluted Jia Yan. The demon sect is really hidden. This late stage friend of the star is a good character. After Jia Yan saw this worried person, he nodded with satisfaction. Through his body shape, he could feel that his gains this time would not be small. This is the first time that he has encountered a similar system for so long. Senior, please show mercy. The paper monster kept begging for mercy. After the two sides stood still, before the domain lord announced the start of the fight, they began to test each other and get closer. Behind him were the middle-level experts from the 6 stars who had regained consciousness, and they were surrounded outside the fighting venue with great curiosity. Hey, this is the person here. In our demon sect star level, we are the only guy who can be called a genius at the same level in Jianghu star territory. Tisk, tisk, I don't know if this one can withstand Senior Jia Yan's attack. It must not be able to hold on, otherwise wouldn't we be embarrassed? Just stop being like this. After all, we are all from this demonic section. If we are defeated by a powerful and venerable clone, we will not be able to go out without face in the future. This group of middle-level stars is really convinced by Jia Yan's Black God clone. But it seems that they are quite confident in the mid-level star that they are fighting against Jia Yan. Boom. While talking, the noise of fighting over there gradually grew louder. Good guy, it's exactly what I guessed. Jia Yan punched him, and his fist contained positive and negative power, but the opponent's entire body, which was nearly 10 kilometers in size, turned sideways. The side of this guy was as thin as a few hairs. When the Black God clone's fist landed on it, it seemed as if it had touched lubricating oil, and the entire fist passed through it. No threat was posed. Pyridine. And this paper monster-like guy quickly came across the palm again and slapped it down, as if it blocked the sky and the sun. Jia Yan's expression changed and his eyes were bright and clear. Step back a good distance, then release the brainwave power to interfere with the opponent. This guy probably already knew that the brainwave power of Jia Yan's clone didn't seem to be strong, but it was endless, so he didn't rely on it. After coming into contact with Jia Yan's weak brainwave power, he first chose to use his brainwave power to resist, and easily scattered the black god Jia Yan's brainwave power, and then the next stream of brainwave power invaded. Before, he once again ducked sideways to avoid the next wave of brainwave power. What a weird fighting technique. All roads lead to Rome. Although such creatures are definitely in the minority in the galaxy, it does not hinder the possibility of quite powerful beings emerging. For example, the man in front of him had unique fighting techniques that made Jia Yan feel fresh and new. Of course there is no threat. Senior, your attacks are ineffective against me. The paper-like star rear step, after getting used to Jia Yan's attack energy level and fighting style, actually dared to make sarcastic remarks. You know, this is an extremely serious offense to the strong. Jia Yan was stunned, and the domain lord in the distance was also stunned. Then the territory lord level felt his hair stand on end. Not long before the idea of stopping this star-level powerhouse came up, drastic changes had already occurred. Incredibly huge energy was displayed around the Black God clone. A magnificent power that does not belong to this world arises from the fist of the Black God. Vaguely, there seemed to be the will of the world between his fists. It seems that through the power of this fist, I can read the power that does not belong to the galaxy. Friend, it's not a good thing to belittle oneself. I have at least 100 ways to defeat you now. Let you experience one of them first. He was caught off guard by the terrifying force. The paper monster at the back of the star felt that the energy of the sun was locking him. A world created with the power of technology. No, this world seems to be quite perfect. He felt goosebumps rising. After feeling cold all over his body, Black God Jia Yan released a terrifying force between his fists. As if falling from the sky, he used his momentum to suppress his body, making it impossible for him to turn his body back to his side. He actually punched him with his fist. Undefended frontal torso. This punch seemed to have hit something like plasticine, denting the opponent's entire body, and then bounced back quickly. Jia Yan did not kill him. But this is enough to make the other party experience the pain of being torn apart. Ah! The paper monster retreated for dozens of kilometers with great difficulty, blood spurting from its mouth. Senior Jia Yan, the second elder of our sect, is not very good at talking. Please show mercy. The domain lords outside the battle circle were uneasy, fearing that Jia Yan would strike hard and beat someone to death. For a senior domain lord level powerhouse, killing a star level powerhouse is really just a matter of whim. Even for their sect, this person is already the second strongest person in the entire sect except for the domain lord level, but in the eyes of the senior domain lord level powerhouse, it is nothing at all. If he was casually crushed to death, they, the demon sect, would probably not dare to seek revenge, so they could only turn a major issue into a trivial matter. Don't worry, I know what's appropriate. Jia Yan didn't care whether the demon sect domain lord was restless or not. In order to relieve his anger, he even exposed the creation of the world. How could he resist not having a good time? The move just now was a brand new technique of creating the world. This created world, as has been said before, is attached to the Milky Way and is reduced to the size of a grain of dust. Since Jia Yan defeated the White Dolphin and gained sole control of the entire world, he would definitely not sit back and let it float around in the subspace. It is a waste of natural resources, and it is also a waste of life in the created world. It is wrong from both a practical and moral direction. So Jia Yan took away the creation world. Just being kept by the Black God. At this time, this technique was launched, using part of the power in the created world, causing the stars to become unable to move even in the back. This power can only be used for an instant, but it has magical effects when used. It just cannot be used multiple times. After all, it is the original power that created the world. If it is used too much, it will damage the foundation of the world. Jia Yan worked hard. I'll also show you the second way to deal with you. Jia Yan punched again, and between the two punches, there was a positive and negative force sweeping away. This kind of rippling power seems to be at the same level as Jia Yan's failure just now. In other words, if there is no uniqueness about this punch, it will definitely not be able to cause any damage to the paper monster. The opponent also quickly twisted his body, preparing to align his side with his fist. Now he no longer dared to fight head-on with this angry strong man. At first glance, the overall strength of this strong man's clone is only that of a venerable person who can be easily crushed to death. But when they actually fight, they will find that the strong are the strong. The locking of energy does not mean that they have no fighting skills. Still want to go sideways? Don't even think about it. Jia Yan snorted lightly. I saw the fists between his hands making strange black and white patterns. There seemed to be a wonderful circular scroll blooming in the entire sky. From the fist, the magical Tai Chi pattern expanded rapidly, covering the paper monster's body. He was forcefully turned sideways and turned back to the front. Now, he had no choice but to receive another blow from Jia Yan without any tricks. Bang! The second mouthful of blood spurted out, and the paper monster was already regretting it. If you had known what you were saying, why would you tell a senior domain lord level being that he couldn't find any flaws in you? It's just doing whatever you want to do, just to make a super strong person unhappy. Senior, I admit defeat. The moment he retreated, he was already too busy with things to apologize for. Jia Yan said that there were 100 ways to deal with him, but he didn't want to suffer another 98 similar attacks. At most, he would die if he got 3 to 5 more attacks. Oh. It's boring to give up now. Jia Yan curled his lips. Fortunately, this late-level star gave up, otherwise there really doesn't seem to be much way to deal with him except to continue to play these two tricks again and again. Wouldn't it be embarrassing to be asked when the time comes for you to find the 100 ways you boasted about? Senior Jia Yan is indeed invincible in his magical powers. We, the demon sect, are willing to be defeated. The territory lord level flashed forward, fearing to arouse Jia Yan's hostility, and kept the distance as far as possible. He was testing the injury of the strong paper monster. After realizing that there was nothing serious, he let out a long sigh of relief. The senior domain master's clone was indeed merciful. At the same time, he was slightly shocked deep inside. It's just a clone of that evolved beast. It only has the strength of the venerable level, but it can actually defeat even the lower level stars. Judging from this sense of energy, it seems that if he fights with a strong person at the top of the star, he might have a chance of winning. Is this evolution beast Jia Yan? The strongest evolved beast in history, please. It has even more exaggerated and powerful combat power than the rumors of evolved beasts circulating in the Northern Territory. No wonder. Zunwu and the other two senior domain masters will be defeated in his hands. Since I have won, I have the right to make an unkind request. Suddenly, Jia Yan was silent for a moment and looked at the paper monster and spoke. I want to study your body and the fighting skills of your entire race. The paper monster was shocked. I am really afraid of what will happen. Before he came, he had already thought that with his unique racial characteristics, he might attract the covetousness of a senior domain lord. It's not that I can spy on their combat capabilities, but this unique and incomparable fighting method will definitely make senior domain owners want to study it. Even if you don't gain anything, you can still have countermeasures to prevent you from encountering powerful opponents with similar talents in the future. Okay, senior, if you have time, I welcome your visit. Knowing that it was impossible to refuse, this late-level star warrior nodded with a forced smile. I hope that the senior will not cause massacres in the hinterland of his race. Otherwise, he would be the most evil person in the entire race. Senior Jia Yan, you see, the friendly competition of the lower level stars has also started. I have also ordered someone to send you the magic gate burst skills you want. In addition, you can visit the second Elder's race place for a few days. After. The domain lord was dripping with cold sweat and couldn't help but remind Jia Yan. I will leave the demon sect immediately after that. It's as if I like to stay in this place where birds don't lay eggs. I'm stingy. Jia Yan waved his hand with disgust. Yes, yes. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2959. The final result surprised Jia Yan. The items taken out by the magic door were the kind of things that made him suddenly enlightened. Hey, it seems to be something from Southern Star. After Jia Yan finished reading it, he was thoughtful. The magic sex cultivation skills actually come from the black hole area. But this is normal. In the center of the entire Milky Way, apart from the Milky Way central star field, the black hole area is more central than the Milky Way central star field. Inside the black hole area, the 4 giant stars surrounding the central black hole area are the real elite. As the southern superstar has a similar status to the northern superstar, it naturally has its own unique skills in cultivation. As for the magic sex cultivation skills, if they come from there, it would be understandable that they have such fighting ability. It seems that the superstar I chose was wrong. Jia Yan read Nan Yuxing's training techniques. They seemed to be very basic, but they gave him great imagination. His positive and negative explosive power vaguely complements this power. Of course it could be his misunderstanding. In short, the reference effect is definitely there. The explosive power of this magic gate is quite wild. I had known that the Southern Star's cultivation method was more strength-oriented, and the increase in combat power was quite astonishing. My positive and negative powers are 2 types of power. If I could use them to a certain extent, by increasing the intensity of any kind of force as much as possible, the burst of energy will be enhanced. This is where he sees the complementarity. In this way, the place to go next time has been decided. Black God Jia Yan pursed his lips, licked his lips, and showed a somewhat evil smile. But this is his own opinion. After becoming powerful and having the experience of the Black God, the willpower of the Black God Jia Yan is more or less fundamentally different from his real body and other clones. Therefore, it is up to Mommy to decide whether she is willing to agree with him. Senior, our race is also ready. The paper monster also came to the side of the Black God clone. Jia Yan has become the scenery of this area in the starry sky. There are countless starry sky creatures of all levels of strength around, swimming in the distance. The rumored senior domain master's clone. This is a rare legendary powerhouse. For these beings whose strength is not even as strong as a star, that is a god. After working as an animal in a zoo for a while and being admired by tourists, Jia Yan also felt a little bored. Then let's go and have a look at your clan. After seeing it, it's time for me to leave. The paper monster led the way. Jia Yan discovered that the flying speed of this guy was not slow. He actually used his flatness to accumulate brainwave power in the middle, expand it, and then spray fire from the tail to move forward. The speed is quite fast, even amazing. The clone can only enter half of the subspace and can barely keep up with his flying speed. This speed is okay. It's not much weaker than the average galaxy beginner. Senior, we are overly praised. Our race has been out of the starry sky for so long that the entire race has evolved to adapt to the starry sky. The paper monster's words made Jia Yan silent for a long time. All life has the characteristic of evolution. Whether fast or slow, you cannot deny that any kind of life will exhibit this trait. For example, Jia Yan has an extremely fast evolution speed and can evolve into what he is today in 1 generation. If a slower race enters a completely different living environment for thousands or tens of thousands of generations, it will be difficult to recognize its original appearance. He thought of the people on Earth. The current relationship with the people on Earth is because of the descendants and the appearance of the people on Earth. But what about thousands of years in the past, or even tens of thousands of years in the future? Earthlings who enter the starry sky will only accelerate their own evolution. When a strong person becomes stronger, the offspring he gives birth to will only develop in a stronger direction. Gradually it will become different from what you remember. Hey, let's take it one step at a time. It is impossible not to lead people on Earth to develop in a stronger direction. Senior, we are here. The noodle-like paper man took Jia Yan and flew to a peaceful and harmonious area. The figure of the young black god emerged from the subspace. After looking at the surrounding scenery, he nodded immediately. I think your race is fine. Thank you for the compliment, Senior. Our race has existed in the starry sky for millions of years, and many of them have been hunted down by senior domain masters. However, we still survive. This is something we are quite proud of. When he mentioned this, even he couldn't help but feel proud. The starry sky around here seems very ordinary. It is so ordinary that even if Jia Yan's real body is flying by in the 10th dimension, you will miss it if you don't pay attention. But there is another cave in the starry sky. Flat creatures are living in a sunken space. I'll go in and take a look. Jia Yan suddenly realized that it was very meaningful to come here to watch this biological race. Senior, wait a minute, let me take you in. The flat creature stepped forward quickly, fearing that Jia Yan would use some unique method to enter their tribe and destroy their home. The sunken ground is similar to the subspace. In fact, in the universe, there are not only gravitational wave systems and subspace systems, but also some messy systems. They complement the space but can influence it. For example, subspace and gravitational waves both affect space and time. As for these paper monsters, their species exists in a flat space. Man-made. Like the Earth splitting open, and like the stars moving, a large amount of black flew backwards. Under the guidance of the paper creature, Jia Yan entered a chaotic space. After adapting to the changes in the surrounding environment, Jia Yan looked around again and couldn't help but marvel. It turns out that several space technologies are used in this space. After entering, including the paper creature next to it, he looks three-dimensional here. Sure enough, there is another mystery. After praising each other for a moment, he went to observe the races living here. Many monster children are running around the Earth, as well as many creatures, mountains, and rivers. It's so big that it's unimaginable. This world is not a planet, but hundreds of thousands of paper races can live in it. Chief, you are back. Who is this? A creature of about the level of a venerable came to them. This is a senior, please come up and salute. The paper monster quickly gave instructions to the visitor. The visitor was stunned for a moment, then trembled all over and hurriedly stepped forward to salute. Probably afraid that other people would collide with the senior master Jia Yan, the paper monster quickly dispersed its brainwave power and spread it to the entire Earth, seeming to be announcing something to all species of creatures. Jia Yan could sense the power of his brainwaves, but he didn't stop him or ask about it. See. It is also a good thing for him to be able to keep ordinary tribal creatures away from him and facilitate his research. Senior, if you want to study anything, just do it. I hope that Senior will put the lives and property of our people first. Of course I understand. Jia Yan is also the person who manages the Orion arm, so how could he not understand? So he was very considerate and asked 10 heaven-level experts from the paper race and hundreds of beings from the paper world to come and observe. The face of the paper monster at the back of the star suddenly turned ugly. Fortunately, Jia Yan still left a way out, saying that he should not study those people to death. Soon people came. Looking at the trembling group of paper race beings and more than 100 ordinary paper world creatures, Jia Yan was very interested. He found a very quiet place and released his brainwave power. Even if the venerable level clone releases the power of brainwaves, it is not that scary. But don't forget one thing, the clone can extract unlimited amounts of spiritual power from the real body. All the brainwave power he releases, once started, goes all out and can be maintained at full strength. So a simple version of the field was formed. No one from the outside can come in. Don't be nervous, I'm just going to take a look at your body structure. Amidst all the little lambs, amidst the terror of all the little cuties, Jia Yan approached the group of paper creatures. Not long after, amid bursts of screams and groans of pain, Jia Yan launched his own investigation. Chief, will this senior pose a threat to us? From the outside, several powerful paper monsters came and surrounded the entire area. The paper creature at the back of the star had a bitter look on its face. Isn't this already a threat? You still ask. However, you don't have to worry too much. With the other party's identity, he should not go back on his words. Presumably, even if something happens, it will only be the problems with the compatriots who were sent in. The safety of others should not be affected. That's good. By the way, who is this senior? Don't ask. If you ask, you won't even be able to offend Mr. Wuzun. Cough. What? Cough. You can't afford to offend Mr. Wuzun? What kind of existence is this? In the world of paper, everyone was suddenly frightened. The martial master of the Jianghu Star territory is a well-known senior domain master of the martial arts sect. The original paper creatures were a wandering race in the starry sky. For them, they only protected their paper world and could go anywhere in the universe, so they didn't value their place of belonging that much. In the end, he encountered a strong enemy and moved to this Jianghu starfield 5,000 years ago. Martial Lord, who was already a senior territory lord at that time, allowed them to see how powerful the senior territory lord was, and made them believe that it would be difficult for someone as terrifying and powerful as Martial Lord to be willing to protect them. That's why I want to stay here. But I didn't expect that in this life, I could see a stronger person than Wuzun. As a wandering race, they have a lot of knowledge and insights. Wuzun belongs to the senior domain lords, and he is also an extremely terrifying senior domain lord. At least in places other than the central star domain of the Milky Way, it is rare to have such a powerful senior domain lord. And that one who is stronger than the martial lord will probably have a place in the central star field of the Milky Way. Senior, I can't stand it anymore, it hurts. In the field formed by black energy, a large number of howls and screams came out. Jia Yan didn't feel uneasy or regretful at all, he just studied the numerous paper creatures. However, he did not kill the intelligent ones. After dissecting several paper creatures that were usually eaten as meat, he pondered. When you used to live on the planet, it shouldn't be like this now, right? Yes, we are all very ordinary life forms, and we may not even be of the same race. Some researchers responded hesitantly. Jia Yan nodded. Looking at the broken limbs on the ground, other intelligent paper creatures dared not speak out in anger, for fear that Jia Yan would transfer the symptoms to them. These food-based life forms must have been cultivated by you later, right? Yes, some ethnic groups that have even integrated into our race have gradually lost their minds and become carnivorous. Jia Yan nodded again. I don't know how many years ago this happened, but even ordinary paper creatures still remember it, which shows how well their tribe remembers the imprint of history. Presumably after today. This clan will probably have another record of foreign tyrannical and powerful people. Find bookstore. Jia Yan has been thinking about the direction of his subspace talent. The subspace does not only become stronger the deeper you enter it, but according to Jia Yan, the subspace seems to have no limit. Do you think 10 degrees is the limit? No, Jia Yan was observing carefully and asked Edisha to build a mathematical model. After calculating certain data, he came to the conclusion that subspace is one of the basic laws of the universe, and you can enter the depth infinitely. Until the end, that is the core origin of the universe. Therefore, Jia Yan is not prepared to keep going in without limit. This is not how subspace talent works. At least after seeing the subspace technology of the White Dolphin, he has become deeply aware of this. To be honest, if I were to fight the White Dolphin in the outside world, with my condition at the time, it shouldn't be a big problem to defeat him. But the problem is that his subspace technology is much stronger than mine. He can't be chased down, and maybe even being stuck by him may cause me to gradually fall into a disadvantage. Therefore, Jia Yan has long been thinking about whether to learn from the subspace technology of the White Dolphin to improve his subspace capabilities. Seeing this paper race today gave him new ideas. The technology from White Dolphin must be utilized. But you also have to think about your own things. Time flies. Another dozen days passed quickly. Jia Yan's real body is somewhat helpless against the clone here. He is breaking through, but the clone is like a funnel, always using the power here. Until the energy becomes unstable, it should be that the real body is unwilling to continue to provide stable power. Buzz. This protective area dispersed after a slight shock. You satisfy me very much. Let's go. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2960. The tiny figure of Black God Jia Yan is so inconspicuous among the paper creatures. However, just what such an inconspicuous character said made the intelligent paper creatures feel like they were being granted amnesty. They nodded in panic and then rushed out of the area. Well. Seeing that these fellows didn't even dare to say hello to themselves, the paper monster on the back step of the star, who had been waiting outside for a long time, turned his eyes back to the Black God Jia Yan, who walked out thoughtfully. Senior, how is your research going? Thank you for your help. This harvest is quite big. That's good. It's our honor to be able to help seniors. The paper creature on the back step of the star hesitates to speak. He really wanted to ask if the senior should say goodbye. But I couldn't ask. How could the host chase away the guests? Unexpectedly, just as he was about to speak, Black God Jia Yan took the initiative to raise this question. By the way, I want to discuss this with you regarding my departure. What? Senior, feel free to ask, I will definitely do whatever I can do. Black God Jia Yan met the strong man's heart, and immediately nodded with satisfaction and said with a smile, it's good that you have this heart, and I don't need you to do more. The thing is like this, I'm afraid my true body is breaking through, and my clone will soon have limited movement. I'll rest in your paper world for a while. Don't worry, it won't take long. You won't reject me, right? The paper monster's face looked as if he had eaten shit. His lips moved, but in the end he couldn't say anything. You can't say, Senior, I don't want you to live here. This is looking for abuse. Of course it's no problem, Senior. How long do you want to stay? Well, you can stay for half a year. It won't take half a year, it will take 10 days at most. My real body has promised to hand over things to several senior domain lords, so I will definitely wake up by then, so I will trouble you during this period. It's not troublesome, it's really not troublesome, it's really. When he said this, Jia Yan could feel the gnashing teeth of the leader of the paper monster. What a wonderful race that wants to serve so much. Jia Yan nodded with satisfaction, found a place where he would not be disturbed much, sat cross-legged in the mountains, and then dispersed his power back to his true body. As for safety issues, he believed that these paper creatures did not dare to do anything to him. Offending a senior territory lord, and a senior territory lord who even defeated their Jianghu Star territory martial lord, the paper race that is often hunted down, I am afraid they can understand the danger involved. Including this Black God clone, all Jia Yan's clones entered a state of deep sleep. Including the assassin who is currently competing in the venerable level competition and has gained a great reputation and has a very high reputation. There was supposed to be a competition tomorrow, but the assassin brother actually said he gave up. That shouldn't be the case. With the assassin's strength, it's impossible to lose miserably against that guy. The scholar-like monster seemed completely confused outside the inn. In recent days, he has really enjoyed being a master of others by following this brother assassin. After all, the assassin is a foreign genius who is not familiar with everything in the Jianghu Star territory, so he needs a brother like him to take care of it. As a result, he met many powerful people and made friends with many masters or geniuses. He even had the idea that from now on, he could become a professional assistant to the genius. But this matter is not clear yet. The assassin announced that he would stop fighting and go into seclusion. This is too embarrassing for brothers. But this matter is decided by brother assassin. Whether he will destroy his own future is also his decision. As an outsider, I cannot make the decision. This scholar-like monster has really positioned Jia Yan's future in the ring. He also believed that he could pass this arena competition and eventually be selected by a strong person, become his disciple, or even be selected by Wu Zun. But he never thought that Jia Yan didn't care about this at all. Wu Zun picked him. The reverse is more or less the same. The current situation of the other clones is not far behind. Each avatar seems to be only at the venerable level, and their jobs and gimmicks are different, but each of them has made some achievements. In other words, Jia Yan's clones are all excellent. In short, now they all found excuses and fell into a deep sleep. Puff puff. Deep in subspace. The real body has been in seclusion for a long time. There were only a few days left, and it was the time agreed upon with the two senior domain masters to hand over the remaining remains of the white dolphin. Probably due to some deep realization, he knew in his heart that these two guys would not hand over the things to him honestly. So he is thinking of ways to break through. On the body of the black giant mosquito, streaks of azure color appeared. Jia Yan, who was in seclusion, was in a happy mood. This was why he had forced all his clones to take measures to thank guests behind closed doors. He wanted to concentrate on improving. This was also due to a clone that looked like a young man from Earth, absorbing his power all the time, putting pressure on him to do tricks, and finally being unable to do anything. Black God clone. After the completely immersive upgrade, the energy from the white dolphin's head was quickly absorbed. The physical characteristics of the evolved beast allow Jia Yan to hardly leave too many dead spots. As long as the material is in the absorbed state, whether it is flesh and blood or minerals, it can be effectively transformed. If the conversion rate of other creatures to devour and absorb powerful men of other races can reach up to about 30%, then the conversion rate of evolved beasts is at least 98%. In essence, any living thing is devouring, even humans are an exception. However, the nutritional energy conversion rate of humans on the earth when they eat the flesh and blood of other animals is surprisingly low, with an effective conversion rate of only half to 10% at most. And this is for certain foods. If people on earth are allowed to swallow energy crystals, they will eat them to death. But this is not the case for evolved beasts. As long as their bodies can withstand the force, they can devour them. Comparing the hatchbacks, you can see that the conversion rate of the evolved beast is surprisingly exaggerated. Well, this head can help me push to a new level? It's a bit exaggerated. Jia Yan quickly felt the existence of the barrier, and he was completely able to break through the barrier and achieve a breakthrough at some small level. After the senior domain master, the pinnacle of the domain lord. This has not yet completely swallowed up all the body of the white dolphin. However, if you don't break through the realm in front of you, you are still worrying about gains and losses, thinking about things, it is simply a waste of resources. So after Jia Yan had some doubts, he continued to break through without thinking. It can be sudden or not, the listener will be sad and the listener will cry. In other words, Jia Yan's previous predictions were still a little different. He believed that he had to completely devour the entire body of the white dolphin before he could be promoted to the top of the territory lord. But now, he can reach the realm he dreamed of without using so much energy. Maybe the white dolphins never thought that Jia Yan's assimilation efficiency was so high. If it were a white dolphin, even if he could devour Jia Yan's legacy, it would still be unknown whether he could even enter the domain lord's peak. Within the subspace where the twisted power is layered, a seductive power is quickly spreading. It caused a chain reaction. A large amount of space collapsed, but was quickly filled by other surrounding subspaces. It is difficult for the outside world to sense anything. The blue power quickly spread to all directions of Jia Yan's body, but it was a bit regrettable that this breakthrough was obviously not at the level of evolution, and there was no blue liquid that really enveloped Jia Yan. It is estimated that no strong person would feel the pleasure and pressure of promotion as often as Jia Yan. This is not the first time that he has experienced an imbalance in his realm and mentality. The same is true now. After the progress of the vague mental strength, it is now necessary to strengthen the physical strength. There is not even a transition process in between. If Jia Yan hadn't experienced this feeling all the time, he might have been unable to control the soaring energy of the explosion, causing his body to burst. The power from the white dolphin's body quickly transformed into Jia Yan's own power. However, they were not swallowed up, but instead launched an all-out war on various parts of Jia Yan's body. At first, the energy that hit the organs, tissues, and even cells was quickly devoured by Jia Yanji, and there was no news at all. But as his strength increased, his body became a little unable to control such a huge amount of energy. There are three options now. One is to continue to barely control absorption. The second is to scatter them and waste them inside subspace. The third point is to allow it to arouse in the body, but this will evolve into a symptom of physical instability until it is digested by the body itself after a long time. Jia Yan's choice was simple. He chooses the first option. Keep absorbing. Even the white dolphin himself was killed by me. You are just the cellular energy inside his body. How can I be afraid? The compound eyes are intense. The fearful energy vibrated in Jia Yan's body. Since it was difficult to control his body, he used another force that he was not usually used to. That is counter-force. Don't forget, when he was very weak, he swallowed antimatter into his body. That power has always been something Jia Yan had hidden in his body, and it slowly transformed into the feminine power in the yin and yang dao. It's just that Jia Yan is not used to using that power, and rarely uses it for exercise when practicing. Often as his body gets stronger, this power continues to rise. Now that part of the body's control power is missing, it's time to take out and use this unaccustomed energy. Counter-force surged from all directions. It may be inside the cells, or in the gaps between cells, or it may come from the nerve ionization organs inside the body. When gathered together, the momentum is like a rainbow, and the scale is actually quite large. In one go, the white dolphin energy that was supposed to form the climate was subdued, then suppressed, and entered the major energy organs. After turning the danger into good fortune, Jia Yan's physical strength suddenly increased a lot. There is still a little bit left, so don't worry too much. The rest is just dross, but it is still of great use to me. Let's devour it slowly. In line with the principle of not wasting anything, Jia Yan continued to remain in seclusion and continued to practice and devour. But at this point, there is no need to be so focused. So the clones, one by two, came back to the world. In the Jianghu Star territory, it is destined that there will be all kinds of bloodshed due to the appearance of these guys. You finally woke up. Many masters have come to visit you in the past 2 days. It's really scary for me to resist them. The elegant and scholarly man was in mourning after the assassin walked out of the inn. He didn't know that there were so many people who cared about Jia Yan even though he was in seclusion. There was an endless stream of stars, and he even heard that a certain domain lord wanted to visit in person, but gave up because the assassin was in seclusion. Many people are speculating on the assassin's true strength, and whether he can defeat the master's junior genius in the Jianghu star realm. Most of the powerful people who came to visit came to see the excitement. But there are also some other parts that have a different mentality. For example, some of them came to observe whether this foreign genius was a wandering genius, or a genius who could be attracted from other star fields, so that they could recruit him as new blood in the sect. For example, others are the banker of the competition. If you want to see the specific level of this newcomer, is easy to trade and gain profits. There are also things like making friends. In short, there are many. Unfortunately, their wish to witness the true face of this outsider came to nothing, because this brother was really in seclusion. Retreating in seclusion is definitely a top priority in the galaxy, especially if the opponent is a genius. In the Jianghu star territory, you dare to disturb a reclusive genius. In serious cases, even Wu Zun himself will. It is possible to do it yourself. Therefore, after many people returned home, the number of people who came gradually decreased. Don't worry about these idle people. You can arrange the event for me immediately. The sooner the better, preferably this afternoon. Ah! Afternoon. Didn't you just wake up from seclusion? Why don't you take a rest? No, I gained a lot from seclusion. I just took the opportunity to find someone to practice my skills with. I see. Then I'll make arrangements right away. Those people who are interested in you must be willing to arrange new opponents for you. After instructing the cheap brothers to arrange for a match, the assassin monkey Jia Yan was quite satisfied. He won't gain much, but his real body will be released soon. When he comes out, his clone will have nothing to play with. You should seize the time and have a good time. Soon, Jia Yan successfully arranged a new event and continued his previous legendary journey. The performance of this assassin has attracted more and more people's attention. What is even more surprising is that when a certain domain lord level power met with the old god martial lord, he casually mentioned this person, and then Lord Wu unexpectedly he was also very interested in this foreign genius and wanted to meet him. Suddenly, the name assassin caused a wider sensation. Want to see me? I won't see you for a while. Ah! You don't even see the old god. This. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2961. Rebirth of the starry sky giant mosquito. See what you see. Jia Yan's monkey clone looked down upon him. When you see the other person, you immediately recognize your identity. I'm afraid Wu Zun just wanted to see this clone because of its identity. It's a beautiful idea, but I still want to continue playing. I want to continue to watch the talent selection competition in the Jianghu Star territory, and then use it to Orion's arm. For the strong, their biggest advantage is that they have a high probability of being able to do whatever they want to do. The strong person mentioned here is not only a person with strong strength, but also a person with power and money. Of course, it is best to be a person with strong personal strength and money and power. It just so happens that Jia Yan is not lacking in these points. Oh? That so-called assassin doesn't even want to see our Master Wu. The mid-level stellar man who came to take over the matter had a strange look on his face after hearing the reply from the anxious and creepy monster. How long? In this Jianghu Star territory, oh no, it should be said that in the entire Northern Territory, there has not been a venerable level who dares to rebel against the old man Wu Zun for a long time. Stellar level had happened before, and that was because there were other senior domain lords standing behind them, and the senior domain lord personally led people to apologize afterwards. And what confidence does this venerable level have to dare to be disrespectful to a senior territory lord? But I can't make the final decision on this matter. I'll report back to the lord when I get back. Senior, please give me a kind word. My brother is a straight-tempered man. He is not disrespectful to the old god Wuzun. The star level smiled disdainfully and left without paying any attention to the entry-level existence of the venerable being. As a mid-level star, there is almost a gap between heaven and earth from the ordinary first-level venerable. Normally, it would be impossible for him to have anything to do with this literate monster. Being able to calmly listen to others communicate with oneself is already a sign of magnanimity for such a strong person. Of course, this is what he thinks. Soon, this stellar powerhouse contacted Wuzun, who was sitting in the center of Jianghu Starfield. Master, the venerable level person you personally requested to meet does not seem to appreciate it. He rejected your personal invitation. I wonder if Master wants me to capture him in front of you. Don't you appreciate it? Wuzun opposite the communicator still looks like a giant. It's just that at this time, he was so wise that he didn't look like a reckless man. Shaking his head, Wuzun said, no need. If the other guy wants to do something, you let him do it. Secondly, there is no need to disturb him. If there is any other abnormality, you can report it to me. This is. The mid-level star's strong man's expression was uncertain from time to time. As a servant who has served Wuzun for a long time, although his strength is not outstanding, he has the best grasp of Wuzun's temper and character, so when he looks at Wuzun's attitude, he knows that a venerable level is not an ordinary venerable level. Either there is a huge backer behind him, or there is something else to rely on. Thinking that he had threatened the friend next to the assassin, he felt frightened. Still thinking about whether to apologize to the other party. But after thinking about it, I decided to forget it. Wuzun said not to disturb that person. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading --U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the starry sky giant Mosquito. Soon, the news that the assassin came to power again shocked the entire venerable level arena in the center of the Jianghu star territory. Many people who follow these events come from all directions. This assassin is really not easy to recruit. He was originally scheduled to attend several large-scale events, but he turned them down in the name of cultivation. It seems that he is not sure about dealing with those geniuses. Fortunately, he pushed a few games, and his ranking and prestige have also dropped. Now he is not facing a powerful character. I guess he can fight a few more games. A foreign genius with such a big name is still struggling in our competition. Almost all the attendees were disdainful of the assassin's previous actions. But what he never expected was that as soon as the assassin came on stage, he asked all the opponents scheduled to fight him today to come on stage. He wanted to fight against this group of people alone. What? You said that right. Do you know how many opponents have been arranged for you today? It doesn't matter how much, it's all right. Jia Yan's clone, who transformed into an assassin, had a calm expression. Soon, the results were jaw-dropping again. The geniuses who came on stage in anger and clamored for the good looks of this assassin, were beaten off the stage one by one in embarrassment after half an hour. There was total silence around the entire arena. Everyone couldn't believe their eyes. Jia Yan, who was enjoying the public attention, seemed not to be under any pressure. Host, you can just arrange the top competition for me. Or, it doesn't matter if you let the remaining geniuses from the first level of the venerable besiege me. The host wanted to say something, but after all, under the suspicious eyes, nothing could be said. When Jia Yan left the ring again, the elegant brother no longer knew what to say. Needless to say, I know what you want to say. I will be honest with you when the game is over and before I leave. Okay, then I'll wait for brother's explanation. No one is a fool. Jia Yan was already quite good at passing through obstacles and killing enemies along the way. But that can still be explained by talent. But he treated so many star-level and even domain lord-level experts with a nonchalant attitude, which made this well-educated creature have strange thoughts. Today, Jia Yan stopped pretending and slapped many geniuses who came to the starry sky in the center of the rivers and lakes to their knees. So what makes him extraordinary is beyond the sky. Even a fool knows that there is something wrong with this assassin. It's not an ordinary problem, nor is it a genius, but a big problem with his identity. Otherwise, no matter how talented he is, how can he defeat so many top geniuses at the same time? 2 days later, a group of venerable junior geniuses gathered from all directions and arrived one by one with various thoughts. They all looked at the assassin who came to the edge of the ring. Among these glances, some showed disdain for Jia Yan, some showed doubts, some looked solemn, and most of them showed confusion. Everyone heard the rumors about this assassin before they came. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading --U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. But those rumors were a bit too much. One person defeated 7 geniuses of the same level. Although the people who came to the scene now were all geniuses with higher rankings than the original 7, including 2 among the top 10 geniuses at the beginning of the venerable level. But they asked themselves, they can't do this either. Everyone, are you coming together? Or are you coming one by one? Jia Yan went straight to the ring and asked with a soft smile. Assassin player, the arena match hasn't started yet, so please don't go on stage. In addition, the organizer of this event has its own schedule, so please don't anger your opponents. The host is also a stellar powerhouse, looking a little ugly on the side. Jia Yan smiled jokingly and exited the ring. The host could have done more, even more seriously, to drive Jia Yan out of the ring, but it was not impossible for him to do it. But first of all, the identity of this assassin has been widely circulated in the past 2 days, and he is also a little bit shy. Secondly, today's game attracted countless attention. This was something with a lot of money rolling around, and it was hard for him to go against the demands of many parties. Jia Yan had no choice but to be kicked off the stage. We would like to beat up an outsider like you, but the organizer has its own arrangements. A first-level sage made a gesture of wiping his neck to Jia Yan. Others looked at the assassin thoughtfully. In the first battle, it was the strong man who wiped Jia Yan's neck just now. Without saying a word, Jia Yan stepped forward and stole a peach from a monkey. He made the guy jump up and then kicked him off the stage. So fierce. Others were dumbfounded. The person who came on stage was close to the top 10, and he was almost knocked off the stage in 2 moves. Wouldn't it be the same for everyone else who goes up there? Even the 2 people in the top 10 might not be able to defeat the one just now in 2 moves. Let's do this. If you 2 go on stage together, I won't insult your face. Jia Yan expressed his opinion. The organizers probably already had a similar proposal and quickly passed this request. You brought this up yourself, assassin, suffer death. The 2 new venerable junior geniuses who came on stage took action together. Then they only felt that the fists of the monkey creature in front of them collided with each other, and different colors appeared faintly on the 2 fists, one black and one white. After that, the 2 of them were flying forward very quickly, even their consciousness was lost. It turned out that their bodies were knocked upside down by 2 big fists. 2 masters came up this time, but these 2 were not as good as the beginner of the venerable just now. They were knocked down with 1 move. In other words, Jia Yan just now didn't mean anything. At this moment, everyone looked at each other. In this way, the 3 of you will go together in the next game. There should be enough people here today. If 3 people can't do it, 4 people will do it in the next game, and so on. I believe it won't take long for you to find a way to deal with me. Jia Yan was very unscrupulous. I simply don't care about the people from my Jianghu Star territory. The person who made this roar was no one else, but a venerable from the audience in the ring. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading /U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. Jia Yan looked around and knew that this man should also be a genius from a certain Jianghu star field, but he was a lower-level venerable, so he did not participate in the siege against him. My friend, you can end it if you want to after fighting them, I don't mind. The entire audience was stunned. This assassin is a little too arrogant. Even though many people speculated that this person should have some background in a big family, he could defeat so many talented beginners as a first-level venerable. But I didn't expect that this person would be so arrogant that he would even dare to provoke the geniuses of the lower ranks of the venerable. You know, there is sometimes a huge gap in strength between the primary level and the later level. This is what you said, just wait, but you have to be able to deal with those junior friends. The lower-level powerhouse in the audience snorted coldly and sat down silently. He had no choice but to vent his anger on behalf of his comrades below. Because Jia Yan has already taken the lead, the others are inferior to Jia Yan in terms of momentum. If his sharp energy cannot be eliminated, maybe Jia Yan will be able to win without a fight based on this momentum alone. Now it has come to the face issue of the venerable geniuses in the entire Jianghu Star territory. It was natural for that genius to come forward. 3. Superior. At this end, the 3 major sages have been selected at the beginning level, and each of them is a relatively weak character in the team. The 3 geniuses came on stage, and there was a faint roar throughout the arena. But Jia Yan still looks like an old god. It seems that the mountain is overwhelming, but I don't take it lightly. The 3 of them did not treat Jia Yan too lightly this time, and quietly surrounded Jia Yan in a very stable triangle tracking method. During the whole process, Jia Yan did not take any counter-attack measures, and did not even think about breaking away from the encirclement. He just watched their encirclement quietly. In fact, Jia Yan was deliberately forcing them to join forces to fight, to see if there was anything unique about joining forces in this martial arts world. As expected, the Star Territory is vast and rich in resources. I have a lot to learn from these joint skills. The accumulation of hundreds of thousands of years is naturally not comparable to ordinary combat techniques. Joining hands, the background becomes different. Jia Yan soon faced a joint attack from the 3. He was clumsy. Looks quite embarrassed. However, while dodging, his fists touched lightly. Be careful, you 3. Off stage, the 2 venerable beginners, who had just been punched off the stage by Jia Yan, did not care whether they were embarrassed or not, and hurriedly spoke out to remind them. After receiving their reminder, the expressions of the 3 people tensed up. However, no matter how tense he was, one person was still knocked away by Jia Yan's forward and reverse boxing moves. The remaining 2 people were shocked. Although they quickly made an effective joint counter-attack strategy, they were still defeated by Jia Yanzu. On the ring, among the spectators, there was a star-level young man. After seeing Jia Yan's moves, his eyes became ugly. He has the appearance of a white dolphin. Jia Yan. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading /U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. As Jia Yan's current opponent, or the heir of Jia Yan's archenemy who studies Jia Yan every day, he is very familiar with Jia Yan's moves and fighting techniques. I originally thought that since I have been alienated by Wuzun recently, I would come here to see the Assassin's War that has been rumored recently. If it were possible to subdue this assassin, he might be able to grow up in the future and become one of his arms against Jia Yan. However, What he didn't expect was that when he witnessed Jia Yan's front and back boxing, he suddenly felt familiar. Later, under the siege of 3 people, he finally understood it completely. What kind of outside genius is this? He is simply the clone of Jia Yan. You damn old thing. Play pig-eat tiger. Isn't it fun for a dignified senior domain master to go to this venerable level battle arena to play house and bully the weak? Shameless. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 2962. Rebirth of the starry sky giant mosquito. The son of a white dolphin, his lungs are about to explode. My son, what's wrong with you? Suddenly, next to him, another female-looking creature noticed that he was in a bad mood. Mother. The son of white dolphin reacted and quickly returned to his original state. I just remembered something, don't worry. The female creature nodded and said, I thought you were angry because of that Jia Yan clone, isn't that okay? The son of white dolphin's entire expression changed. His mother really saw it. The mother must have known about the fact that she was threatened by Jia Yan's clone and provoked Wu Zun. After all, she is a figure known as the female military goddess in the Bai family star territory. Son, don't worry, I won't stop you from doing things, but you are doing it too hastily now, and he is not that easy to deal with. The eyes of the female creatures around him were filled with incomparable wisdom. She prides herself on having a perfect plan, but her experience in the creative world severely damaged her self-confidence. My ex-husband died in the hands of that evolved beast, and I couldn't reverse the situation even if I took action. So she knew very well that the evolved beast was not that easy to deal with. Okay, I get it. The son of the white dolphin has made great progress compared to the white dolphin, at least in terms of self-awareness. He has a good mother. Moreover, even now, unless he faces a senior domain lord, he is definitely not without help. Because his mother herself is in existence close to the domain lord level. After watching this battle, let's go. The guy above should have noticed us. The son of white dolphin looked uncomfortable. Why are you leaving? He is just a different person. Even I can't win. Besides, you are here. Son, I have said many times, don't underestimate any senior domain lord, let alone the senior domain lord who can kill your father. If he senses your murderous intention, even if the true body comes, it is not impossible. Oh well. Weiren, the son of the white dolphin, sighed. The body of the female military god is very small. Although she is not as big as a human on Earth, she is much thinner than ordinary people of the same level. Therefore, she looks like the peak of the venerable at best, which is only a few kilometers in size. Many of the stars present did not feel her strength. A moment later, the fierce battle on the stage came to an end. Jia Yan's monkey clones knocked away his opponents one by one. Looking back, he looked at the leaving mother and son and smiled disdainfully. I didn't expect to see his wife here again, but her style is still the same. Female military goddess. Jia Yan had no idea of preventing them from leaving, and he didn't even have any thoughts of killing the mother and son. Orphans and widowers, forget it. Moreover, the threat they pose to themselves is actually not that big, and we should wait until they are potentially harmful. But Jia Yan's eyes were darting around, a little strange. Logically speaking, that concubine Khan should be with the mother and son. It is a reasonable guess for people on Earth that the stepmother is with her son. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading --U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the starry sky giant mosquito. But she wasn't there. If she were here, Jia Yan had some old scores and wanted to settle them with her. This series of events was entirely caused by her, but Jia Yan felt that things were not that simple. Want to find out? That's all. If she keeps an eye on me, maybe there will be a chance to meet her in the future. Let's ask more clearly. If there is really any malicious intention, then, even if it is a trick, I can't blame myself. If I had known it was such a troublesome thing, I would have killed him when we first met. Jia Yan will not be merciful on this point just because he cares about the beauty. It was okay before, but now she has affected his own development and even caused danger. No matter how beautiful she is, it has nothing to do with him. Concession. Jia Yan once again defeated the 5 opponents who joined forces to take the stage. Looking down, there were not even 6 opponents together, and he immediately curled his lips, knowing that today's battle would not go on again. I'll wait until I'm convinced, so there's no need to fight. The remaining ones who didn't take the stage were just small fish and shrimps. When the 6 of them joined forces, the 2 venerables were already in the top 10 of the elementary level, but they still managed it with one move like the other strong men. Of course they didn't dare to go up. That's all. Jia Yan waved his hand and looked at the host. So, I win this game, right? Well, the assassin wins. The host was stunned for a while and finally announced that Jia Yan was the winner. There was no sound in the audience for a long time, until a strong man took a long breath and smiled, which caused a chain reaction. There was no more scolding of the outsider. Because this level of power can no longer be explained by talent. No one is a fool. Either they are the clone of a strong person, or they have unique and powerful skills. No matter which one, they are not comparable to ordinary strong people. Even the stellar-level powerhouses no longer dare to look directly at this being who appears to be the first level of a venerable being. Let alone half-star level. Many people are wondering whether they can defeat so many venerable junior geniuses if they are in Jia Yan's place. There seems to be a huge gap in strength, but they are the first-level geniuses in the Jianghu star realm. If they join forces, they may be able to defeat a star and a half. But just like that, he was defeated by such a strong man who looked like the first level of a venerable. Even if it is a clone of a strong man, this is amazing. Brother assassin, you. After stepping down, the polite creature's eyes became timid. Haha, my friend's mind is spinning fast, he must have thought of something, right? Well, it seems that my challenge has almost come to an end. Let's go to a restaurant and I'll be honest with you. Jia Yan laughed heartily and led the frightened literary creature outside the ring. Half an hour later, in an extremely luxurious restaurant in the center of Jianghu Star territory. What? Brother assassin, are you the clone of a certain strong man? Yes, but you don't have to be afraid. I am me, and my true body is my true body. We all have our own opinions. Dare I ask, brother assassin, how strong is your true form? How strong it is, it's hard to say, but it is better than your martial master from the Jianghu Star region. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading --U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. Hearing this, the literate creature almost fainted. He didn't know that a certain young talent he met by chance on the road could be a clone of a stronger man than Wu Zun. This is a bit too magical. I told you not to think too much, so don't think so much. It's over here. I already have plans to leave, so just think of me as an ordinary friend who met by chance. How can this be so embarrassing? After all, you are a senior. The scholar-like monster believed in Jia Yan's words unconditionally. The two have been getting along for a long time, not to mention the current situation. The assassin does not need to deceive himself. Needless to say this, there are not so many empty-headed things among seniors and seniors. Just remember, there are very few people in this world who can be friends or even talk to. I think you can talk to them. Come on, that's a friend. If my real body hadn't been involved in many things and would have put you in danger, maybe I would have asked my real body to come over and make friends with you. Jia Yan is quite heroic. In other words, this is the setting of the monkey clone. I don't dare to do that anymore. How can I reach the level of a senior like me? The other party's attitude obviously changed slightly. Jia Yan sighed deeply in his heart. Knowing the truth, it's just not fun. Let's do this. Please ask someone to take care of you before I leave. Let's have a good relationship after all. Then thank you, senior. Don't call me senior. Oh, that's all. Just do whatever you like. The two were alone for a while. Fortunately, Jia Yan had not misjudged the person. This elegant scholar-like creature, after getting familiar with the original Jia Yan's chatting style, he gradually felt relaxed. Between cups and cups, the two of them chatted. People have regained a little bit of their joyful nature. By the way, senior assassin, I see that you often record something in a book. I wonder what's going on. Haha, I came to your Jianghu Star territory not only to do some errands, but also to learn from the scriptures. These notes are all about anecdotes from your Jianghu Star territory, as well as developments that are helpful to other star regions. Features and more. I am familiar with this matter. Otherwise, I will go back and draft the text, record what I see and hear on paper, and then send it to you. Maybe it will be helpful to your work. Then it's all your fault. We're there. Soon, the two finally said goodbye. Although the elegant scholar went back to write good things and could see each other again, the attitudes of both parties must have changed by then. After Jia Yan watched him leave, he found an inn to stay. Now let's see how Wu Zun will respond to what I am doing here. If he is smart, he should give me some response. Sure enough, not even half a day after Jia Yan stayed in the inn, Wu Zun sent someone over. Your Excellency is Lord Jia Yan's clone, right? Yes, I am Jia Yan's clone. Your Excellency, Wu Zun sent you here. Do you have anything important to discuss? Well, it is not convenient for Master Wu Zun to come to discuss this matter with you in person, but he believes that there is a very important piece of information that must be left in your hands to decide. I wonder if you can listen to what I have to say. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading /U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. Say it. The person who came was a domain lord level powerhouse, but he felt quite embarrassed in front of the monkey clone that exuded only the fluctuating power of a venerable level. It's like this. The old god Wu Zun has recently captured certain signals from the outside world. The intelligence on the signals shows that the two senior domain master friends of Wu Zun will take action against you. Wu Zun thinks that the other party is responsible for this matter. It was caused by not keeping his promise, so he specially ordered me to come and inform you. Jia Yan had already noticed it, and looked at the domain lord with a half smile. Oh? There is such a thing. Isn't Wu Zun a good friend of those two people? Why would he betray his friends and notify me? Senior is joking. The old god Wu Zun has always been a helper, not a relative. Besides, these two are at most my trading partners in the Jianghu Star territory, and they can't be said to be close friends. Then I understand. Say hello to Lord Wu Zun for me. In addition, if he has no intention of being an enemy of me that day, please don't get involved in this matter to prevent me from hurting innocent people. Okay, I will definitely report this matter to the old god Wu Zun. The domain lord said goodbye and left. Jia Yan's monkey clone snorted slightly. I'm afraid that what this martial lord got was not just some intelligence, but probably the two senior domain masters who asked him to join forces to deal with him. As a result, Wu Zun got cold feet, and that's why the current scene happened. What an old god. He has quite a high prestige in this Jianghu Star territory, but among the powerful men at the same level, he can only be regarded as an old fox at best. Wu Zun's way of survival is not based solely on his strength. He seems to be the type who goes back on his word. This kind of character can be intimidated by his force value, but he cannot be expected to have any intention of contracting. So even if he informed me, if I couldn't resist the enemy that day, he might still betray me again and be just a loser. Jia Yan knew it, but was not in a hurry. As for the real body, I will go back in person. Only by merging the memories can we solve this matter better. The memory between the clone and the real body can also be achieved through a special connection, but Jia Yan believes that it is better to return to the real body in person and merge with the real body, so that all the scenes can be transferred directly back to the real body. On the body. After thinking about it, he finally left a letter with the elegant scholar-like creature, then got up and left. Except for the monkey clone here. Another location in another place, within the land of the Demon Gate. I'm leaving. I've learned almost everything about your magic section, don't miss me. In addition, your magic sect has been under pressure from the outside recently. I'll see if I can help you solve it after I go out. Are seniors leaving? That's so sad. In fact, if seniors are not in a hurry, it's okay to stay in my magic sect for a while, but since you have something to do, you should go first. Let's do it. If there is a chance to come back next time, our demon sect will definitely welcome you. In the demon sect, as soon as the black god clone stood up and said he wanted to leave, the demon sect master first showed an obviously excited look, and then quickly suppressed it and turned into sadness. Chameleon-like. Okay, if there is a chance, I will come back again. Also, I left a volume of cultivation and improvement method suitable for your magic section. It is just a superficial improvement method. The detailed content needs to be developed by yourself. Farewell. This chapter is not finished. Click next page to continue reading /U003E/U003E. Rebirth of the Starry Sky Giant Mosquito. Jia Yan would not let others help him in vain, so he also showed his sincerity. Jia Yan's black god clone quickly entered the subspace and left quickly among the lightning and flint. The domain lord of the demon sect curiously picked up a small book left by Jia Yan and read it. After watching for a moment, his breathing quickly became extremely rapid. Quickly, engrave this volume on the book instrument, and find a master craftsman to frame it properly.